everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Brick Township Council to order. Madam Clerk, please.
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Star on February 8, 2019. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspapers, posted on the public bulletin board and the Township's website.
Thank you. At this time, please silence or turn off your cell phones. Roll call, please.
Councilman Fosman.
Here.
Councilwoman Pontrero.
Here.
Councilwoman Dion.
Here.
Councilman Mumlo.
Here.
Councilman Halloran.
Here.
Vice President Crate.
Here.
President Zapsik.
Here. Would everyone please stand for a salute to the flag and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please accept and file the reports of municipal officers?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. This time I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 14th meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mumlo, second by Councilman Halloran. Roll call, please.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontrero.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dion.
Yes.
Councilman Mumlo.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
President Zapsik.
Yes. Council Vice President Crate, would you join me at the podium for the Students of the Month presentation?
And for Brick Memorial High School, the Students of the Month for Grade 9 are Tiana Semino and Cheyenne Severin. For Grade 10, Brendan Kozak and Ann Stewart. For Grade 11, Jameer Cooper Chapman and Samantha Viola. And for Grade 12, Caleb Alvarado and Carly Murata.
Our second presentation this evening, may I ask Margaret Weiss to join Council Vice President Crate at the podium for a resolution on Dystonia Awareness Month.
I'm afraid to touch this. Dystonia Awareness Month is designed to help raise public awareness, understanding, and support for the disorder of dystonia, a neurological movement disorder similar to Parkinson's disease. Dystonia affects approximately 1% of the population, 1/3 of which are children, and recently, more and more veterans are being diagnosed with this disease. Dystonia has an array of symptoms such as painful, prolonged muscle contractions, which are involuntary, abnormal, and often repetitive movements and postures. These symptoms can significantly interfere with a person's daily life by impeding those affected from the ability to perform simple daily tasks, such as the ability to walk, speak, get dressed, or control the posture of their head. Dystonia has limited treatments and currently has no cure and is commonly misdiagnosed, delaying access to appropriate medical care. Sufferers live by the slogan, never, never give up. Dystonia Awareness Month will help provide better understanding and compassion for those affected with one or more of the various forms of dystonia and the impact the disorder has on those individuals and their families. We as a township lend our support to the individuals and families affected by dystonia, and we call on all residents to learn more about dystonia and ways to provide support to all that are affected. And I can say on a personal note that I know Marguerite. We formerly worked together, and I am always amazed and delighted to see her every year and how well she looks. She looks beautiful, and I'm just so happy that she's in somewhat recovery that I hope you'll talk to us about tonight.
Hello, my name is Marguerite, and this is my husband, Gary. I'm here because I'd like to share my story about living with dystonia, and I thank you all for the opportunity to do so. Not many people know what dystonia is, and in fact, not many have ever even heard of dystonia before. I was once one of those people. As you just heard, dystonia is a neurological movement disorder involving muscle contractions that cause repetitive and or twisting, often painful movements, and currently there is no cure. It can affect different parts of the body, the face, eyelids, neck, limbs, hand, feet, torso, or the entire body. It's frequently misdiagnosed, as was mine, and can lead to immobility and isolation. My truncal dystonia manifested like this. One of the better descriptions of living with dystonia and what it feels like that I've heard is, it's like my body has a mind of its own. My personal description of dystonia is a comparison to that bad shopping cart at the grocery store. You know the one, it may roll a little bit and then it just gets stuck, it just won't push and it won't budge and you push and you push. That's what it's like to have dystonia. Your body just gets stuck. It just, you try to move and your body just won't cooperate. It's very exhausting. Because dystonia is so hard to diagnose and is often misdiagnosed, my mobility over a 4-year period declined until eventually I went from a cane to a walker to a wheelchair and scooter. At home I would roll around the walls like this. Where it seemed that when I leaned forward far enough, the dystonia posture would go away, so I would make my way around on furniture on my forearms. I was getting calluses on my forearms. I would reach for pieces of furniture. When sitting, I would have to lean forward, or my body would straighten out like an ironing board, and it would be all I could do to not slip out of the chair that way. My husband would have to do a dress check for me because my clothes were often crooked, and I needed help getting a sweater or coat on because I couldn't find the second armhole. I'm grateful that I only fell twice, but I was always banging my head, being kind of bent over that way. I'd rather go through brain surgery again than this. This is nerve-wracking. I've always experienced discomfort in my lower back, but I didn't know any better. When it started to cause more pain, I began to affect my hips, saying in my late 20s, I would periodically visit the chiropractor or acupuncturist. Around 2011, I went back to the chiropractor regularly because of increased pain, and because I was starting to gallop. thing. And after those adjustments, I would get little, and then later on, no relief. I went to an orthopedist in 2012, and he said that I had arthritis, and I thought, okay, I was approaching 50. He kind of just asked if I could live with it. He prescribed tramadol, which I reluctantly took because it made me feel ill. I did one round of physical therapy, then we tried the cortisone injection at the base of my spine, no results. Then he prescribed a second round of PT, and during that time, my physical therapist said, this just isn't helping. And it just so happens that she did her internship under a neurologist, so after conferring with the orthopedist, she found the neurologist's office, and I was able to secure an appointment. It was like 2014. So I walked into his office, and Dr. Holland exclaimed, you have dystonia. And it was a relief to know that I wasn't crazy. So we began the regimen of different medications and combinations, none of which worked, all which had negative side effects. It was during this time that I learned of the Central Jersey Dystonia Support Group, and it was good to know that I was not alone. And so when these medication options were exhausted, Dr. Holland referred me to Dr. Green, the dystonia specialist at Mount Sinai in Manhattan. Now it's 2015, we tried more medications, different medications with no positive results. We tried Botox injections. Now it's 2016. We tried Botox injections in my lower back with sonogram for accuracy to allow for longer needles and larger bore. Nope. In 2016, I just couldn't drag my body out the door anymore to go to work, so I began to use up my sick days. After exhausting all these treatments, Dr. Green said that the last option was deep brain stimulation and that he wanted to recommend me as a candidate. By that time, we were ready, and I said, sign me up. My neurosurgeon's prognosis was a 70% chance of some kind of improvement. So after all the pre-testing, I underwent brain surgery. The first electrode was implanted with the lead coiled up under my scalp in March of 2016. The second a month later, in April. 2 weeks after that, a pulse generator was inserted under each clavicle, and the leads were pulled down and attached. In the beginning of June, after some healing, the pulse generators were turned on. And although I left Mount Sinai that same day after initial programming in a wheelchair, the very next morning, I woke up, stood up, walked across the living room floor to the bathroom on my own, no hanging on the door frames, no forearms, no reaching for the furniture. My body was cooperating. It's been quite a journey. I had a great support system through family, friends, and coworkers, and Central Jersey dystonia folk. I think I did okay emotionally with the support of everyone, especially my husband, holding my hand every step of the way and allowing for the occasional meltdown. But I did slowly stop doing things. It was just easier to sit on the couch. At the same time, the support and love kept me going, and I learned a great lesson about the human spirit and its capacity to love and be loved and cared for. And for that, I'm truly grateful. I do still have dystonia, but my life has greatly improved. Although I still struggle, I'm back to working full-time and loving it. Other folks are not so lucky. So I thought if a room full of people could hear my story and are introduced to the word dystonia, increased awareness of this not-so-well-known disorder will lead to more research, improved treatments, and ultimately a cure. For more information about dystonia, you can contact the Dystonia Medical Research Foundation at dmrf.org or the Central Jersey Dystonia Support Group at cjdystonia@gmail.com. I want to thank you all for listening, and as we members of the dystonia community say, never, never give up. Thank you so much.
Mr. Philippone. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Hi, guys. Well, I want to thank you. That was, number one, that was a wonderful story, and bringing those kinds of disorders to light is always a really important thing to do, and I hope she continues to do well. I'm excited because for two reasons. I have a lot of time on my hands now, and we started an organization, we being about 20 of us, 10 from Brick Memorial and 10 from Brick Township High School, called Brick United. And it's our hope is that we're going to bring the community together in a lot of different ways. But our first order of business is to create scholarship money for our seniors at both Brick and Brick Memorial High School. And we were very fortunate this year that we got some wonderful sponsors, and we had a very successful golf outing, and I want to thank Councilman Fosman for attending, and apologize as a whole to the council for not, I am the communications person, and not getting that message out to you guys sooner. So we were really fortunate to do well. This year we gave $18,000 in scholarships, 9 to Brick Memorial, 9 to Brick Township High School, and our goal is to give at least $20,000 per year. With that in mind, on July 25th, we're sponsoring a Brick United night at Blue Cross Stadium, and we're gonna try to. I have to talk to Mrs. Walrab. We're gonna try to push it through the schools. We are gonna donate 50 tickets to every elementary school, so that if kids, couldn't afford to go on their own, that the principals be able to give those out. And we're going to have a 50-50 raffle later on in the year. And the real reason that I'm coming out, and I'm going to go hopefully speak at a board meeting as well, is just so that when people hear the name, they understand what it is. There is nobody in the organization that gets a dime. Okay, nobody. We have a board of directors made up of some really outstanding people. We're a 501(c)(3). We have all of our paperwork in, and every dime that we raise goes directly to students in Brick. So we're just trying to get our name out there, and I appreciate the opportunity, Council President Zapsik, and that's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Alrighty, we are on to our consent agenda. Madam Clerk.
All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Thank you. Resolution 4-1.
Recognize Dystonia Awareness Month, June.
Council Vice President Crate.
Thank you. This resolution recognizes Dystonia Awareness Month to help raise public awareness, understanding, and support of the disorder of dystonia, a neurological movement disorder similar to Parkinson's disease.
Thank you. Resolution 4-2.
Authorize cancellation of stale dated checks in municipal court.
Councilman Halloran, please.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the reconciliation of the municipal court's bail account and general account, and to cancel outstanding checks that are considered stale dated in the amount of $431 in the bail account and $25 in the general account.
Thank you. Resolution 4-3.
Authorize increase in change fund, beaches.
Councilman Mumolo, please.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes an increase in the change fund used by Recreation Department for Beach 1, Beach 3, and Windward Beach. The change fund will increase from $1,000 to $1,800 in order to ensure enough change for those paying cash for beach badges and parking. Recreation staff has requested this increase based on the volume of cash transactions and the 2019 rate change from $5 to $8 for a daily badge, which requires more change.
Thank you. Resolution 4-4.
Authorize receipt of bids, ambulance repairs.
Thank you. Councilwoman DeYoung, please.
Yes, thank you. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for ambulance repairs that are no longer under warranty, specifically repairs to the modular body, its life support system and components, as well as many mechanical repairs, especially where modifications have been made during construction of the modular body to accommodate its life support system and components. The township had an approximate expenditure of $71,000 during this current 2-year contract period, which will expire on July 14th, 2019, with PL Custom Body and Equipment Manasquan as the vendor. Funding for this contract will be included in the vehicle maintenance operating budget.
Thank you. Resolution 4-5.
Authorize the receipt of bids, vehicle collision and body repairs.
Council Vice President Crate.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the receipt of bids for vehicle collision and body repairs. This bid is not only for accidents, but also for reconditioning, is that right? Yes, of bodies from normal wear and tear. The township had an expenditure of $45,500 during the current 2-year contract period, which will expire on July 14th, 2019, with Mako Collision and Auto Painting, Lakewood, as the current vendor. Funding for the contract will be included in the vehicle maintenance and liability insurance operating budgets. The township deductible for motor vehicle accidents is $2,500, and the remainder is paid by the Ocean County Joint Insurance Fund.
Thank you. Resolution 46.
Authorize award of negotiated contract for fireworks exhibition.
Mrs. Bergen.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the award of negotiated contract for fireworks exhibitions to Garden State Fireworks Millington for the total amount of $33,000. The contract includes 4th of July fireworks at the Summerfest Concert Series kickoff, as well as the 3 remaining concerts this summer. The contract also includes a fireworks display at Fall Fest. On May 21st, the township received bids and rejected both due to errors in the submission. That was the second time we went out for bids for this service. The first time, no bids were received. This resolution included authorizing me to directly negotiate, and I am recommending we proceed with Garden State Fireworks as the vendor, as that vendor submitted for all township events and whose costs to the township were lower than the other bidder. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Resolution 47.
Authorize sale of surplus property of Avaya Telephones auction 2019-4.
Thank you. Councilwoman DeYoung.
This resolution authorizes the sale of surplus property, specifically Avaya telephones no longer used by the township for public use. The township telephones were recently replaced with a new Avaya IP office phone system. For this bid, the township will utilize the services of U.S. GovBid, a state-approved provider of online auction service for the sale of surplus property. As compensation for promoting and conducting the online auction, there is a 4% commission which shall be payable by the township and subtracted from the final sale price.
Thank you. Resolution 48.
Authorize acceptance of donation from Brick Board of Ed to the Brick Historical Society.
Councilman Mumolo, please.
Thank you. This resolution authorized the acceptance of a donation of surplus property, specifically a weather vane located at the Lawton School, which is no longer needed for public use. In addition, the Brick Township Historical Society has requested the weather vane for its archives. Therefore, this resolution authorized the sale of the weather vane to the Historical Society for $1. The transfer of the property via sale is necessary in accordance with New Jersey procurement law, which does not allow the township to offer the weather vane as a donation.
Thank you. I'd like to suspend the agenda for 1 second. We have someone from the Historical Society here tonight that might be able to shed some more information and enlighten us on this resolution. Sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Edward Mangold. I'm president of the Brick Township Historical Society, and so I'm here to accept this gift. It's almost a gift. I particularly want to thank Mayor Ducey. Thank you, John. He was instrumental in arranging this thing, very complicated. We had to negotiate for the cost of this. For years, I negotiated large dollar contracts for the computer industry. And this is the hardest negotiation I've ever had, where for 2 pounds of old tin, it costs $1. So, thank you, John. Secondly, I want to thank the council for doing this for us. And so, in that vein, John, here's the $1. Thank you, John. If you'll bear and humor an old man for a few minutes, I'd like to speak to my recollections of the Laurelton School. You're familiar with it, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. It's on on Route 88 across from the church. I spent 75 to 80 years in that school. was grade 3, 5, 6, and 7. You may ask what happened to grade 4. Well, Mrs. Elizabeth Conover, who was my teacher, skipped me over grade 4. How many of you have skipped grades in school? Secondly, the Board of Education, in its infinite wisdom, fed all of us students lunch. I can't call her a chef. I even have trouble calling her a cook, because in 4 years she served nothing but Spanish rice. I have not eaten Spanish rice since. Okay? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you, council, and particularly Judge. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Resolution 49, please.
Authorized motor vehicle sales license, Al's Auto Care, 373 Randall King Road.
Mrs. Bergen. Oh, sorry.
Authorizes a motor vehicle sales license to Al's Auto Care on Manahawkin Road. The license is contingent on use variance approval by the Township Board of Adjustment.
Thank you. Resolution 410.
Authorized 2019-2020 liquor license renewals without restrictions, consumption, distribution, and club licenses.
Thank you. Councilman Haller?
Thank you. This resolution renews plenary retail consumption licenses without restrictions to P.J. Sweeney's, Windward Grill, Arrowhead Inn, Villa Victoria, River Rock, Beacon 70, Spirit Unlimited, and the TGI Fridays retail plenary distribution licenses without restrictions to Forbes Liquors, Lenape By-Right Liquors, Bricktown Liquors, Wine Shop, New Jersey Wine Gallery, Brick Liquors, By Right of Brick, Wine World, and Joe Canal's Discount Liquor Outlet, and the club liquor licenses without restrictions to American Legion Post 348, Knights of Columbus, Brick Elks, Matitaconk River Yacht Club, Riviera Beach Boat Club, Shore Acres Yacht Club, and the VFW Post 8667.
Thank you. Resolution 411, and it'll be 411A through M.
Authorized 2019-2020 plenary retail consumption liquor license renewals with restrictions.
Council Vice President Crate.
Yes, these go to Applebee's, Bonefish Grill, Buffalo Wild Wings, Carrabba's Italian Grill, Frit, Houlihan's, Jack and Mike's Bar and Grill, Manahawkin Road Ale House, Outback Steakhouse, Quaker Steak and Lube, Red Robin, Tuscany, and Urban Coal House.
Thank you. Resolution 412.
Authorized waiver of the noise ordinance, Brick Memorial High School Marching Band.
Thank you. Councilwoman DeYoung, please.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes a waiver of the noise ordinance so that the Brick Memorial High School Marching Band can have practices, rehearsals, and performances from June through November 1st without inadvertently violating the noise ordinance in accordance with the schedule provided by the band director.
Thank you. Resolution 413.
Authorized placement of tax liens for property cleanups.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the placement of a tax lien in the amount of actually, it's the amount of is missing. So, this resolution authorizes the placement of a tax lien at 766 Sycamore Drive in the amount of $367.19, 472 Irisato Drive in the amount of $367.19, and 221 Swan Beach Drive in the amount of $298.75. And that's why I let everybody else do the talking. Resolution 414, please.
Authorized special events permits, Relay for Life.
Thank you. Council Vice President Crate.
Sorry. This resolution authorizes a special events permit for the American Cancer Society Relay for Life on Friday, June 14th at Windward Beach. The event will be held from 9 a.m. on June 14th through 5 a.m. June 15th.
Thank you. Resolution 415.
Authorized special events permit, Green Cove Marina Family Fun Day.
Thank you. Councilman Mumolo, please.
This resolution authorizes a special events permit for a family fun day at Green Cove Marina from 1 to 4 p.m. Saturday, June 22nd at the marina located on Division Street.
Thank you. Resolution 416, tax collector, Mrs. Bergen.
Thank you. 16A is 100% DAV refund and cancel taxes for Block 377.01, Lot 58. 16B is 100% DAV refund and cancel taxes for Block 901.23, Lot 8. 16C is 100% DAV refund and cancel taxes for Block 902.24, Lot 2. And 16D, 100% DAV refund and cancel taxes for Block 903.01, Lot 1. 16E, 100% DAV refund and cancel taxes for Block 1327.05, Lot 32. 16F, redemption of tax sale certificate, Block 1170.01, Lot 1, 1662, Route 88.
Thank you. And that ends the consent agenda. Open to council for questions.
Yep, Council President.
Yes,
Question.
Councilman.
On 410, the Windward Grill is listed. I believe the proper name is Windward Tavern. So just for the record, it's Three Boys Corporate Windward Tavern.
Thank you.
That's all.
Madam Clerk, can we revise to reflect that change? Councilman Posma?
Thank you. On 4.3, the increase to the beaches, we're going from $800 to $1,000. I know our beach fees went up to $8, from $6 to $8, right?
5 to 8.
5 to 8. So we're only giving out $2 and change, maybe at 20 you give out. You need an extra $1,000, and it's only 3 beaches you got here. Is 1, 3, and Windward Beach. We have somebody selling tickets at Windward Beach
Yes.
all week long and all weekend, and we did that with $800 all 3 beaches before, right?
That was at the $5 rate. So what they're requesting, the money's not going anywhere. It's just so that they have change for the people.
I'm just curious, how much change do they have at Windward Beach 1?
Oh, I don't know how much each beach is
$500
broken down.
or
I don't know how it's
1,000?
broken down.
You're going to have $1,800. You're going to divide it up between 3 and
I don't believe it's
$600.
broken equally, but I'm not positive.
I'm just curious, because that's quite a bit of money to add to that. It's over double.
And the Recreation Director, if I can add to that, Councilwoman Zapsik requested it for a couple things. We've had a few slow summers with the beach replenishment. We had record-setting attendance for Memorial Day weekend this year. So the level of attendance is beyond our expectations, and the amount of beachgoers, as I mentioned, was record-setting for us. So it's prudent for them to have that change available as opposed to hold people up while we scramble to send drivers to get more change.
And if I might just kind of surmise that in past years we were only dealing with change mostly in 5s, 10s, and 20s because
Right.
the beach badges were 5s. Now they need 5, 10s, 20s, and singles.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they actually ran out of change on Memorial Day weekend, and so they wanted to try to avoid that for the rest of the summer.
All right. Thank you. Number 4.5. It's about the contract going out to bid for vehicle collision and body repair. We spent $45,500 in 2 years on repairing from accidents or whatever. What is the internal departmental transfers? Was there, because it says here that the bid is used not only for accidents, but also for reconditioning of bodies, for normal wear and tear, and due to internal departmental transfers. When we transfer something to somebody,
So some of our older police cars, when they're no longer able to operate as a police vehicle but are still somewhat drivable, we retrofit those to use for engineering inspectors or road department. So that is the retrofit that references.
and we spent $45,500 in 2 years on that contract, and there's a $2,500 deductible on accidents. How many accidents do we have in 2 years? Or is that $45,500? How much is that? What I'm trying to say is that the total amount spent with the $2,500 deductible. Is that included in that price? Or is that extra?
That's after the deductible,
That's after the deductible.
correct.
So how many, if we have $2,500 in deductibles on motor vehicle accidents, how many accidents did we have that
Well,
required the
that
deductible?
money is not only for accidents, but also for retrofits, so you can't necessarily tie that total to the number of accidents. It's for other things, as we just talked about.
Well,
If you-
I'm just going by what it says here. The township deductible for motor vehicle accidents is $2,500. It doesn't say anything about interdepartmental transfers or refitting a vehicle. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, so it mentioned that in the services that we are going to contract with for the vendor. So, but it mentions, we do tend to mention in the council, the comments that come from the dais, how things are funded. So it mentions it's funded first partially by, after the deductible, the joint insurance fund, and through our vehicle maintenance fund. So that's just a reference to how it's funded, but the amount that we spent is a combination of repairs due to accidents and also for the outfitting.
So,
I
Do-
can
do
get
you
you
want-
an answer. I would not know that off the top of my head.
okay. Could you email that to me, how many accidents occurred in our town?
In our
And
town?
Well,
Ooh, no, I don't think I could do
for
that.
our municipality. If we're paying $2,500 for an accident, we have to pay up front before the insurance company kicks in. How many accidents did we have in the town involving township vehicles that required the $2,500?
So on this
Or any
particular
amount of money.
contract, the 45,000 expenditure, the answer I will get for you is of that, how many reflected repairs due to motor vehicle accidents? And then
I want to know how many motor vehicle accidents there were in the town for the $2,500 that was paid out. And if a vehicle got in an accident, we pay the first $2,500, right?
That's the deductible for our coverage,
That's a
yes.
deductible. Well, how many accidents did we have in our town with our township vehicles?
As it relates to this contract, I will get you that answer.
I mean, overall, everything. Wouldn't that involve garbage trucks or all involved in this? Would that come under this?
I don't believe so. I think it
It's
says
just-
specifically emergency response vehicles.
It
but-
says vehicle collision and body repairs. Does that include all the vehicles in our town? Or just police, or just inspection vehicles, or? It says the remainder is paid by Ocean County Joint Insurance Fund. The total aggregate of both must be considered for determining bids. I just,
I will have to get you the answer of how many vehicles were repaired under this contract as a result of an accident. Is that a motor vehicle accident? Is that the
Well, I just-
question?
yes, that, and also how many vehicles were in accidents in our town? And also, does this cover the garbage trucks getting repaired or getting spray painted if they had an accident, or, any kind of vehicle in our town? That's what I want to know. This covers all that, right?
Occasionally, the particular vendor will do repairs to a particular type of vehicle that's specialized, like a garbage truck.
Or-
But this is generally for the rest of the fleet. For most of the fleet is covered under this contract.
Not all of it.
It would depend on if it's a specialized vehicle that's covered by a specialized vendor, for example, or a bucket truck or something that's handled by a very specific vendor.
Do we have to go out for a contract for them or two?
We usually have contracts in place for anybody we send to do work on our vehicles or our fleet too.
All right, if you can email me how many township vehicles were in accidents. That's what I would need to know. Thank you. And number 6, it's the fireworks. I know we went out twice to bid on it, and you get to, the council gave you permission to negotiate, of course. And, because the first time nobody answered, and the second time, they both didn't sign the papers. And when you negotiate it, I see Garden State Fireplace, they bid it all of the Summerfest in each category, and the other one didn't. But since you're going out to negotiate, that gives you the power to call the other company and ask them were to negotiate with them too. Did you do both companies?
I spoke with both companies,
And
and I've recommended that the council go with the vendor that can provide all of the concerts at a lower price.
so the other J&J was much higher, you're saying?
I'm saying I spoke with both companies, and I'm making a recommendation to the council to go with the company that can do all of the concerts at a lower price.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else from council? Seeing none, may I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman DeYoung, second by Councilman Halloran. Open to public for questions on the resolutions only. Ms. Call.
And Carl, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard. And before I even start, I will call to your attention. The motion and the second should be made before even a council person says a word. First words are whoever moves the motion is supposed to give and a reason for moving it and accepting it. The second doesn't have to have a reason to go either way, but it should come, because if you don't get the second, and I saw it here at the council, that there was a very important situation in which one of the council people objected to something, and you could not get anyone to second what he wanted, and you just dropped it. Well, there should always first, and if you don't get it moved and a second, nobody should be saying anything, starting there. And then, and that's why I thought you had forgotten us, I have several things, and it kind of blends into the idea that I've been saying all the time. Not every one of these that are on for a consent agenda should be a consent agenda. A consent agenda indicates that you are going to vote yay, and you haven't talked to us about it or offered us the opportunity to discuss it and maybe offer alternatives. When I was working for something that would be a long written explanation, we would have things that were known as an abstract, and it's used in other places like, I believe, colleges, which is a paragraph that summarizes what's there and gives you the important part of it. For example, Councilman Fosman's, which would have related to 4.4 and 4.5 about the vehicle repairs. Not to read the entire, well, it should be pulled out of this and then separately discussed as this, the basic, and then if we're not satisfied that we know enough about how you made your mind up ahead of time, because we know what you're going to do, then we have the opportunity individually to question it and not be coming up and figuring out, well, what else did I want information on? So that's something I'm going to start really being very annoying about, that it shouldn't be part of the consent agenda in many cases. We need individual. The Brick Board of Ed to the Brick Historical. I've listened too many times without having any validating evidence from anybody about the fact that the school board and anything with the schools isn't part of the mayor's administration or the council. Well, that being so, then it should have been that at a school board meeting, the Brick Historical gives the money to the school board. But people are playing games here and have been for years. Yes, the mayor is supposed to be responsible for everything. Al's Auto Care, I believe that there was other information about it other than just authorizing the sale. Even I would caution you to check whether it is Wynwood Grill or Wynwood Tavern, because I think I read it as both. Wynwood Grill and Tavern, or the other way around, but I don't go in that area and I don't pay attention, but I think maybe in an ad I saw it. The tax liens for property cleanups. I would like that not to be part of a consent agenda. Discuss, you did give the addresses, and I would like to know who owns those properties. Is it a bank that now owns it, or is it an individual? And if so, why can't we as a town be more neighborly and pitch in if it's individuals who may be having a hard time, or maybe they need to know where to bring their complaint to that something wasn't done correctly. So it shouldn't be part of a consent. The 100% DAV refund I mentioned before, I would like the names and the addresses. Giving the block and lot is fine, but the response I got from one person is, well, since it's disabled American veteran, it's personal, so we don't want to violate. No, no, no. I can go on the county website, get the name and address. Therefore, it is public information, and as such, we the people should be told. Again, shouldn't be part of that. I don't expect very much in the way of answers. I would more expect that you do things right in the future, because I'm tired of mentioning it periodically. I will tell you. Oh, later on, I'll show you the picture of my hero, Rookie. I'm sure the mayor remembers Rookie. And I mentioned here that I was going to be honored to attend when he received the highest medal from that a military policeman can be awarded in the First Presbyterian Church, which I did, and talked with Chris Smith. He brought him a flag that had flown over the Capitol, met the nicest man from Washington, and the wonderful praises that he said. So I have a picture I'll show you later of Walter Prooksma, also known to me as Sir Walter Prooksma, since he had already received the French Legion of Honor, which on Memorial Day, when the president was with President Macron gave it out to 5 people, and he made a positive statement about the fact that they were being inducted into the Knight of the Legion of Honor, which made them a sir. So I'll show you later, but I bring it up because Walter also was written up in a Catholic newsletter, Catholic Charities, and in the article it tells that he had this big TV that he needed to get, called Public Works, we don't do that. Called some other part of Brick Township, And eventually he got to Catholic Charities. Oh, the man says, no problem, we'll come out. Came out, disassembled this big television, and it went back years. And the article, maybe I'll get a chance to print it out sometime. They did it for him, and he gave them honors, and he wrote a very positive letter to them, praising them, and they came out to his home, interviewed him, and printed it. There are other organizations that do it, and we should be family, not just neighbors, like the mayor once said, and we should be doing it instead of automatically putting a lien on their property.
Council President, can I ask the attorney a question real quick? Is Nan Call correct about doing a motion and a second before we discuss it, like we do on ordinances, before we discuss resolutions?
I think, I didn't follow the procedure tonight, but I think the council president typically calls for a motion and a second, then asks for council comments. Am I right?
Actually, it was on the agenda as after opening to council, so if it's before, then we'll just make that change going forward.
Oh, okay. Well, then, what I would say is, I think a good reason to do that is sometimes, and I know you know this, Councilman Fosman, there are issues that come up on the agenda that someone might not want to make a motion in a second, prior to those issues being raised by members of the council. So I think it is an appropriate procedure. Robert's rules does apply here, but also the chair has the discretion to apply those meetings, because in a small meeting, they are not applied strictly. And Robert's rules are applied strictly in a large meeting. In a small meeting like this, there is discretion in how to apply them.
How much larger can we get here? This is as large as we get.
When I say large, I'm talking meetings of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people. They have to be applied strictly. This is considered, under Robert's rules, a small meeting, because the meeting is the members that vote. So there's 7 of you.
Well,
So
there's 1,000 or 10 in the audience, we all still vote.
You'd still be considered a small meeting.
All right.
You still would be, yeah.
Anyone else from the public who would like to speak on the resolutions? Mr. Sluka?
Okay. John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. A couple quick questions. Hopefully the answer isn't that's the way it's always done. But on number 2, authorize cancellation of these stale dated checks. Drove me nuts last time when he said they were 50 cents, $1, and stuff like that. We have, on the one that goes to the general account, 8 checks for a total of $25. How much does it cost us taxpayers to take care of this? Is one of my questions related to that thing. It seems like it's just, and then why don't we just set up, like we usually do with a lot of other things, have some kind of an ordinance that says if the total's below or above is below $10 and stuff like this, can it be just done automatically instead of these $1.98 and $2? Or is it a state law that says, because somebody created a state law 20 years ago, to drive us all nuts?
Yeah, the council unfortunately does not have the discretion. They have to do it this way because the state tells them to it.
Because that's why I said that's why I started. I was hoping it's not that case.
Because we agree. I think everybody agrees with you, Mr.
It drives me nuts. Yeah. Okay. The other thing is, Councilman Fosman asked for how many vehicles that we had to pay for and stuff like this. And it's not necessarily the ones over $2,500. It could be, repair of $100. It'd be nice to know how many actual accidents we do get in it compared to the normal. I don't know if we are normal compared to the rest of the towns and stuff like that. And I don't think anybody's going to know that today. But that would be nice to know if our people who are driving our vehicles are at least as cautious as other councils. I mean, as other counties or cities or towns or whatever it is. If our rate is much higher, that we're having to pay in more and more repairs, we should have a special training program or something like that to get our drivers to learn how to drive. That's one of them. The other one is this DAV stuff drives me nuts too, because I have no problem with giving DAV, reduction or cancel taxes and stuff like this. But my guess is, since I've been to these meetings, we've had hundreds of these, and I'm presuming that means a lot of taxes that the rest of us are paying. How many other groups besides the DAV don't have to pay taxes? And what's the groups? And again, you could maybe at a next meeting or whatever, you could just send it to me or do it. How many other groups don't pay taxes for real estate and stuff like this, or have reduced? Like the DAV. I have no problem with those people. There must be hundreds of them. But I'm understanding there's a lot more than that. And how much taxes would we be collecting if we actually collected from these other groups? And I think that's it on my...
I don't think the DAV refers to the organization Disabled American Veterans. It's a designation given to an individual because they were a veteran who became disabled in the war and during wartime and are entitled to seek property tax abatement. Am I correct on that, Mrs. Bergen?
And we have hundreds of those, I presume, because I've seen 100 of them since I've been to these meetings. Yeah. What about any other groups? Do we have other groups that or other people individually that don't pay taxes? Or is it just those 150 people out of 75,000 or whatever it is?
I don't believe there's anyone else that's exempt. There are senior citizen discounts, freezes for property taxes. There are also, and by the way, these are not also at the discretion of the council. These are established by state law, and the state sets the requirements for it. But there are charitable institutions, religious exemptions, nonprofit exemptions. There are various groups that are entitled by state law to exemptions. But I think the disabled veterans are the only ones that are entitled to an exemption. I think the seniors are really the only other group.
Discounted type of
right,
thing, yeah.
Right, correct.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And
Mrs. Bergen, yes.
Thanks. I want to touch on the motor vehicle accidents. So we could certainly talk to our JIF about how we fare with other towns.
Yeah, that's...
but we do something that's very unique here that I feel confident in saying now that when we take a look at the data, we're going to find that we do well, comparable to our size and our number of our fleet and vehicles. We have an accident review committee that we formed on our own, and it's been formed and it's been in place for many years, that meets regularly, meets monthly, and they look at and examine a panel of all motor vehicle accidents, and they make a determination of fault or no fault. So they review all of the dynamics that were involved in the accident, they make the determination, and then if that driver is listed to be at fault, there is a progressive disciplinary action that takes place regarding their at-fault status with the accident. So we have found, one, that does help us identify areas where we may be seeing trends in difficulty with visuals, or seeing what the kind of space that you have, where we do specific training for drivers. And we also find that it really helps our employees be aware that an accident in a township vehicle is taken very seriously and or is formally reviewed by a panel on a monthly basis with action taken as needed.
Yeah, well, sounds like something you should almost be, well, let me take you a quick example. When I worked, we had 35 different districts, and for safety, for instance, we had 192 days of no whatever they happen to be. If we're better than the other communities, I think that's something that we should tell people, not just, you know, make it look like, oh, we need repair money or whatever it happens to be. It'd be nice to say, hey, because of our program that we're spending money on, we are now 10% better than the average in the rest of the state, or something to that effect. Okay, thank you.
Council President, I got one question.
Yes, Councilman Casman.
That information you were saying is pretty good. I'm on public safety for 2 years now. I've never seen any accident reports.
We don't bring those to public safety committees. It's a function. It's an accident review committee that meets and serves a specific function and has end results. And that involves employee discipline as a result, and I would not feel comfortable bringing that to a committee.
No, it does. You don't have to tell me about the employee who got disciplined. You can tell me about an accident that occurred. It doesn't have to tell me about any employee.
So if the committee chair would like the agenda to include a discussion on every motor vehicle accident that occurs, then please let me know.
I don't think that's necessary, but I think it would be helpful on an annual basis to have a copy of the report with the names redacted. So the report that's generated by the committee annually.
I think I'll do, if it's okay with you, a summary report.
That would be great.
We can do that quarterly or biannually if you'd like, or annually.
I think as the committee renders its reports. So I don't think it's necessary to use them monthly, but if it's easier to do it quarterly, it probably is more digestible quarterly. This way, Ms. Sapsig, Mr. Fosman, and myself can review that information.
No problem.
Thank you.
Anyone else for comment on the resolutions? Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontriero.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Momolo.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
President Zapsik.
Yes. Item 417.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and the clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $684,364.31.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mumolo, second by Council Vice President Crate. Open to council for questions.
I have a few questions, Council President.
Yes, Councilman Fosman.
Page 3, it says contractor phones, snowplow contractor cell phones. Are we giving the outside contractor cell phones when they're working, I guess, for plowing the snow? How does that work?
With GPS locators.
Do you want me- Would you like me to answer
Yes,
that?
Mrs.
Okay.
Bergen, please.
We have a system in place, Councilman Fosman, where when the outside contractors are called in, they come in to DPW, they check in, they receive a AT&T phone that is tied to our network that not only shows where that phone is located, so we know where the driver is, we know if he's in motion, and it also allows us the ability to make sure that we can contact that person if the supervisor gets a complaint from a road on the barrier island that somehow got forgotten. It gives us the ability to directly contract with the driver, because most of the times those drivers are from outside companies when we have the big events. So we don't have all of their personal cells, nor do we want to use their personal cells. They change that up. You check in, you get this phone. That is the phone until you come back off your shift, and then you turn that back in.
So we have these phones all year long, just sitting there waiting until first.
Yeah,
to
the
snowplow.
contract works on an annual basis. It's not one that's separated out by month.
Okay, that's the AT&T Workforce Management Fleet.
That's correct.
So, okay, so it's $7,000. It just.
It includes
So a
a
little
connection
high.
with our GPS program, so when you're in, if you were in DPW for a snow event, in the main room where the supervisors sit, there's a large screen that we use for the purpose during snow events as a GPS. So it shows you, by connecting with the system, it'll show us truck 212 that was checked in to serve the barrier island. It tells us where 212 is. We can get in touch with 212. It ties into the global system that we use to track where all the outside contractors are.
Thank you. Page 7, Charles D. Baer, B-A-U-E-R.
Yes, sir.
It's property maintenance.
Correct.
So for 2018, in property maintenance, all these properties, I'm not going to list all the roads that are there. I guess they're abandoned homes. We paid the attorney $8,800, and in 2019, we paid him $11,500. And some of the properties were done in 2018, Nebraska Avenue, in 2019, Nebraska Avenue again. I thought we had that company in there to find out who owns these homes, and it would cut down on this cost because we'd be making money from that company.
So this is slightly different. That company that we hired was specifically to help us track down banks and who owns properties when they're in the foreclosure process. That's when they tend to move them around to different entities. It makes it harder for us to find the people that are responsible to ultimately maintain the properties. Property Maintenance Board is a different function than that. Sometimes these are bank-owned, sometimes they are privately owned, but they are, whether it's the bank or the property owner or the absent property owner, is not meeting the Property Maintenance Board criteria. In this case, the Property Maintenance Board, we know who it is that we're citing. We're citing them and they're not responsive, they're not addressing the concerns, and it gets to a point where nothing is done, and then it is brought before the Property Maintenance Board. So for the example you gave in Nebraska Avenue, that was heard first before the board in 2018 and is a case that is continuing over to 2019. Our first approach always is to try to secure compliance from the negligent property owner. So we usually have, the board meets, they have them come in, they have an opportunity to tell us what's happening, what their plan is. The board takes action on what they want to see done at the property and gives them a timeline, whether it's 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, 90 days, and they're brought back before the board in that time frame to provide an update and report if those things have been done.
Okay.
If it hasn't been done, then they take a whole nother set of action, some up to and including demolition.
So we don't recoup this money.
We do, through lien at the time the property is sold.
We liened our house in 2018. We liened all these houses here?
Some of them no, because it has not been resolved yet. It's still under discussion by the Property Maintenance Board.
But we're still spending money on it. At the end, will these houses, will we get our money back?
We will. They'll be sold, or they will be demolished, and we will get our money back.
But why don't we just go, I'm just curious, why don't we just lien them now? Why wait till the end? Why don't we just put
Because
a lien?
we
Because
wait-
you already paid for 2018 on the house.
We wait till we have a final bill and place one lien when
So
it's
if
final.
it takes 5 years, you're gonna keep adding up to 5 years, then finally give a one bill at the end?
We do
instead
one
of-
bill at the end when the project is resolved, and I don't know of any that have taken 5 years.
So we have to invest the money and then try to get it back on sale, the house.
We don't try, we do. And as a municipality, our liens are primary, Councilman Fosman, so we have not had any trouble recouping our liens.
Okay. I just want to make sure we get our money back. That's what I was
Yes, me
worried
too.
about. Page 8. The steel and aluminum for the school board of ed, that was $36,000. I thought we paid some of this already. And this is another bill on top of that? I thought we paid for that gate before, but for the gas, right? So we'd have access to the gas.
That is correct. Your recollection is correct, and this is, I do recall that there was a discussion on it. My notes indicate this was the final bill, so there was a previous bill.
So that's quite a bit. We probably spent about, if our memory serves me correctly, $75,000, $80,000 on this here, so we have access?
I don't believe it was that high, but I can confirm that for you.
And we're not recouping that back from the
We
schools?
are not. We made the commitment to replace those gates for the purpose of us being able to fuel our vehicles.
Page 13. Ganji Graphics. I see that's for tourism paid for that, $602, and for the handouts for the farmers market. That just sounds familiar, like it was used somewhere else. All right, and page, let me see here. 23. Raynon, Kaufman, Michello. Is McCaughlin, he's the assembly speaker, right? Is that him?
Yes, that's the same
That's
person.
him, right? Yeah, okay, I'm just curious.
He's functioning, actually, I don't think he's working on it. This is his partner who's working on that case for us.
Right, okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Anyone else on the bills? All right, seeing none, close council, open to public. Any for questions or comments on the bills? Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontero.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dion.
Yes.
Councilman Mumla.
I'd like to thank the council secretary for getting us this bill resolution last Wednesday, so we had plenty of time for asking our questions. Thank you, and thank Mrs. Bergen for answering them. And yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
President Zapsik.
Abstain on M. Schwartz and Sons, and yes to the rest. Item 418.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid, and that the mayor and the clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurers for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $1,668,091.20.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mumolo, second by Councilwoman DeYoung. Oh, sorry. By Councilwoman Pontero. My apologies. Open to council for questions on the manual bill resolution. Seeing none, close council. Open to public for questions on the manual bill resolution. Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontero.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dion.
Abstain CME, yes to the rest.
Councilman Mumlo.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Craig.
Yes.
President Zapsik.
Yes. All right. Item 5.1, ordinances on second reading.
An ordinance of the Township Brick of County Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 145-6 of the Township Code to extend the time for the waiver of fees for construction to promote the renovation of existing vacant commercial structures.
Thank you. Mayor Ducey.
Thank you. This is a program that's been working very well and filling all we used to have a bunch of empty storefronts around town, and this helped fill those because what this does is it will waive the fee, the permit fees, so encourage mom and pop startup businesses to go into those empty spots rather than building new or going into bigger spots. So it's more for the mom and pop. So it's 5,000 square feet or less, and it has to be vacant for at least a year. And if those two things are there, then we get the township money out of the way, and we waive all those fees, and it really encourages. It's been well received around the state. Other townships has asked me how we do it, how do we go about doing it. Our township went through all the heavy work of talking the DCA into allowing us to do this program. We were the first one in the state, and I had the opportunity to speak at Stockton University and New Jersey League of Municipalities about the program. So this, we're asking at this point to be able to continue it, just because there are a couple more out there. So, thanks.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Councilman Mumolo, second by Councilman Halloran. Open to council for questions or comments.
Yeah, I have a few questions about this real quick. When Sandy hit back in 2012, we borrowed $5 million back in the day from the federal government because we needed it to balance our budget because the houses were gone. We did waive the fees back then of people trying to get back in their houses, but what really happened was it actually hurt us because to get the $5 million, they were saying, well, you're giving away the fees for free. You must not need the money. That's what they told us back then when that happened. So here we are. Here we are again. We did this for 2 years. I thought it was great to get a jump on the businesses. And now here we are. We had a tax increase this year when we could have had a 0 rate, but here we are giving away taxpayer money to start a business in town for somebody else. It's your tax dollars. Everybody's out there. So we're not going to collect any money to get somebody start a new store in town. That's the problem. So we're giving away your tax dollars when we had a tax increase. That doesn't make sense. If we had a 0 rate increase, that means we were doing good. We're doing all right. Maybe you could do it then, but not when you give everybody a tax increase, and now we're going to say, oh, we're going to use some of your money and help somebody else out. I don't know if that's a good idea anymore. We did it for 2 years, and how many stores were opened?
21.
And how much
21.
money did it cost the town?
I don't know if we have those numbers, but thank you for the compliment that we have so many of our storefronts filled now. I appreciate you saying that. And also the fact that I still do, even though there's not many, I still do get some complaints about empty storefronts.
How many are empty?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like many to me. Right? We filled them all. I mean, we really worked hard.
Then why are you doing it?
I really appreciate the building department, the inspectors, as well as the planning about filling our empty spots. So it is a great accomplishment. I thank you for that compliment. But what I'd like to do is keep on filling them. And what we do is we only do this for small mom and pops. It's 5,000 square feet or less, and it has to be vacant for at least a year. So there aren't really that many left, but at the same time, we want to incentivize. So if somebody's looking at a startup business and they have a choice of going to Tom's River, maybe Wall, maybe Brick, and they say, wait a minute, for me to start up this business, it's going to cost me this to go to Wall or this to go to Tom's River, but this township is so kind and so business friendly and so pro-business that we're going to move here, right here to Tom. We're going to move right here to Brick instead of Tom's River. that is really a special thing. So that's why I'm very encouraged.
Okay.
And I know at the last meeting you were saying how great the program was, so I'm not sure what happened in 2
I
weeks.
said it the first time again here.
Yep.
Because to help get the storefronts. Now, I asked you how many storefronts were there. You gave me
21.
that. How much money did it cost the town to get these 21 stores started?
That I'm not sure, but whatever the cost is, I am willing, and definitely love to see our strip malls filled, because that's an important thing. You see the blight, when these strip malls aren't filled, the blight happens, the weeds start growing, people complain,
That's why we have code enforcement.
Other tenants move out. Yeah, but who wants that? Who wants an empty strip mall? That's an odd position to
saying
take,
that.
but I love it. Keep on going.
I just like to know how much money the town spent, and we can't have that answer. So how can you vote on something we don't have an answer for?
Well, you knew it was on the agenda. You could have asked at any point.
I'm here asking.
Yeah, so let me be Karnak. No, we'll get you the answer. That's not a problem. But the important thing is it doesn't matter what the value
too,
is.
John, you got to think. How many more stores do we have would be good?
Gentlemen, this is not an argument. The mayor, you asked the mayor a question. He said he didn't have the answer for you. Can we move on?
No, I've still got more questions.
On this ordinance?
Yes, on this ordinance.
Okay.
This is politicking.
Actually, while Councilman Fosman flips through his papers, I have a question for either Mrs. Bergen or the Township Attorney. We have seen numerous tax appeals come through our council agendas over the years, and usually I'll go and I'll look up those properties, those addresses, those lots and blocks. And if it's a commercial property, the tax assessment is related to the vacancy rate, is it not?
Yes, it absolutely is, and as a result, also the lease amount.
Yes. So when we fill up these vacant properties, then the tax assessment would go up, and we would realize that as a rateable, because one of the things we've also talked about post-Sandy is how our ratables are still not back to where they were. So it's not that we're not we actually collect more taxes when we fill up our storefronts. Am I correct on that?
That's correct. The analysis of commercial properties is different from residential. Residential is usually done by comparable sales. Commercial is often done by an income approach. They find out what value the property has by looking at how much rent the property brings in. So yes, more tenants in these spaces increases the assessed value, which then increases the income to the municipality through property taxes. That's correct.
Thank you.
Council President, how often are they assessed the taxes? Once every 5 years?
Every quarter.
Once every 10 years? Do you assess the whole shopping center? How often do you assess
Oh, no,
it?
the assessment changes. When a tenant comes in, the assessment will change because the nature of the property will change. You'll be having more income.
So they come down here and say, well, we're renting this out for $5,000 more a month. They come down here and tell our tax department, we're renting this out. Now we can charge you more taxes starting now.
Typically, they don't volunteer to come in to pay more taxes, no. But we know because they'll come in for a zoning permit, for a building permit, and it registers with the town that it is now an operating business in there, and that gets to the tax assessor's office. And tax assessor will then typically go out there and check and change the assessment.
How many assessments have they done this year?
I don't know
Can we
the
get
answer
that
to that.
information
We
from
can get
the
that.
tax assessor?
Just to clarify, I'm asking him for the number of assessments that he completed.
In commercial properties?
Yeah, the assessment typically
And
changes
how
on
many
an annual
storefronts
basis.
are left open? I mean, the mayor's touting, we're doing all these storefronts, we're closing them up. Well, if we closed up 21 of them, how many are left?
You can drive around and check it out just as anybody else could. I mean, you don't have that information. You don't get that information.
Well,
But
you're
can
telling
look
me
and
the
make
tax,
visual.
when they leave the store and there's an empty store, then their taxes go down, right? Because the tax collector goes out there and checks it. Is that what you're saying?
We typically don't go out and volunteer to reduce taxes. Usually that would be done by a tax appeal by the property tax owner. Because we don't go out and,
So if somebody's paying $1,000, somebody moves out, you're still going to collect $1,000. But if they fill a storefront, they one little storefront, you're going to raise their taxes. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying that when a storefront is filled, and it hasn't been filled for a while, the taxes could well go up because the assessed value could go up because it's an increased use of the property. It's more tenant of the property, it's more income in the property. That typically results in a higher valuation. Does it always? No, because if somebody's not there for, if it's vacant for a month, obviously the assessment likely would not change. That assessments are usually done on an annual basis.
So then you're saying, you're saying that the property owner has 8 stores, 2 are empty. He should go down and appeal his taxes.
I'm not saying that, no.
Because then he'll have a lower tax rate. If you're going to increase them, fill in the store, he might as well get decreased for having empty stores.
I answered the initial question, which is, how is a commercial property valued by the tax assessor's office? The answer to that is usually it's often on an income-producing basis. So because of that, when it's vacant, it's a lower value. When it's filled, it's a higher value. Now, you're asking me questions about when is it assessed, how is it assessed? I mean, it varies for each one. But as a concept, the more stores that are in town, in our malls in town, the higher the value, the higher the income, the tax revenue is to the township.
Goes both ways. When it's empty, then they can appeal the taxes.
They certainly can.
We knew that. We've done plenty of them.
Thank you.
Anyone else from council on this ordinance? Seeing none, close council. Open to public on this ordinance. Ms. Cole.
Nan Call, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard, and I found the beginning most interesting because when we read something like this, and it's just a short narration, we perceive that we know what it's saying. I had no idea that it was for new owners of that land. I thought what we were doing was you have a small mom and pop business, they get washed out in Sandy, and so we waive the fees for construction or renovation for that owner, not for somebody who comes in and buys the property and you give them a waiver. Is that? Well, that's what I got out of this conversation between the mayor, you, Mr. Starkey, and Mr. Fosman.
Sandy has nothing to do with this at all. I don't know.
That was.
Well, that's what you said, was that when Sandy happened, we did the waiver.
We did
There was
waiver
nothing.
for fees.
No,
Yes,
that
we
was
did.
something totally different. I don't know
No,
why
it
it
was
was
true.
brought up.
When we borrowed the money from the federal government for $5 million, we waived the fees for people to get back in their homes. And when we,
Construction permit fees, Ms. Cole.
Yes.
He's talking about
Nothing to do
residential
with
versus
Okay,
commercial.
the point is, you know, maybe you know what you mean when you're saying it. We the people don't. And it's more important that you make it clear to us what it is, because my perception of what you're doing is my reality. And my perception was, based upon the original state sentence, that we did this to help the people with Sandy. I know people that still aren't on their property because of Sandy, and they still own it, and they still pay taxes, and they really get nothing in return. I didn't realize it also was for small businesses. So this is one of those things that you may think I understand what you're saying, but I really don't understand. And I still don't now that you say it. And I also want to say, the mayor is not part of the voting people. He can supply some information, but that's it, and a lot of it is not supplied. He was patting himself on the back more than anything, and we the people were not getting the information. So that's what it is a new owner of that property.
No. So it's so somebody owns a shopping center, and in that shopping center, let's say there's empty storefront. If that empty storefront is less than 5,000 square feet, and it's been empty for at least a year,
And
then somebody wants to move
It has nothing
in.
to do with Sandy.
Nothing. I don't know why Sandy was brought up. Nothing to do with Sandy. But
Watch the tape not Melanie Briggs.
No,
Watch
I
it
know-
5
I know
days in a row.
Somebody brought up Sandy, but I don't know why. But so we're talking
It
about an
was
empty
in the
storefront.
original sentence.
I know it was, not from me. So there's an empty
I believe
storefront
so.
in a shopping plaza. So the shopping plaza in order to get a tenant in there, can now advertise, hey, if you come here to fill this, if it's less than 5,000 square feet, it's been empty for more than a year, the town is going to save you money, so you might want to come here instead of a surrounding town, because it's going to cost you less, and it's difficult for mom and pops to start up cash, because there are costs with
Under that
retrofitting.
definition, I would recommend you vote no. Number one, I asked some time back about the Puerto Rican restaurant, whose name I can never pronounce or even attempt to. I still call it the freaking Puerto Rican. Definitely was closed. When I asked, you said that maybe they sold out and closed up when they sold out. The other day, I went to the Aldi, which the mayor would be familiar with, to the Aldi shopping plaza, and lo and behold, the For You Chinese store is closed. I have gone in many of them that recently there have been shops closed up. Now you're also going to get, I believe Kohl's is going to sell all their stores. There are going to be huge, huge people unemployed and vacant property, whether it was a small shop or a big shop, because Kohl's is rather small, it's not a Macy's, and if you saw the list of how many are expected to close this year, and now somebody comes in after 1 year of For You Chinese being empty, and they buy it, and they don't pay what somebody else has to pay, no. We don't need an extension. I did think it was a great idea when Sandy happened, but now, no, there's no reason for that. We're losing money on it.
Anyone else from public on
Just for the
this
record,
ordinance?
it started in 2017. Just, thank you.
Anyone else from public on this ordinance? Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Bosman.
Yeah, I do have something to say. My explanation of Sandy was that when we borrowed $5 million from the federal government, we were giving away permits for free. When they found out we were giving away permits for free, they said, you must not need the money because you're giving out the permits for free. So in 3 months' time, we stopped it, and then they loaned us the money. That's what occurred. So this is basically to get the, when this initially went out, it was to get small businesses back on their feet, try to help the small businesses that start up. I was a small business owner myself.
Failed.
We're waiving the fees. It's the tax dollars here. That's what I'm saying. We had an increase this year, which we wouldn't have had an increase if we would have properly did our budget. But right now, it's costing you, the taxpayer, money when we got a tax increase. That's what it is. And we did help out businesses for 5 years. The mayor said it was 51, I believe, businesses.
21.
21 businesses in 2 years. And it's not a bad amount, but maybe it's time to stop paying them. You know, stop giving out stuff for free from the town. It's all out of your pocket. I could see if we had a 0 rate increase, you know.
Is there a vote in there? We're on roll call.
Yeah, I know. And for not have, I don't have all the information that I need. All I have is one page here. So, just to help the small businesses, I think I will vote for 2 more years of this, and let's see. This is a difficult one for me because I was a small business owner. I believe the taxpayers should get their money for this, and I'm going to vote no.
Councilwoman Pontero.
Yes, just by way of comment, I continue to be a small business owner in Brick, and I believe that our investment of a one-time waiver of fees for spaces that are under 5,000 square feet that have been vacant for 1 year or more,
The 2017 investment resulted in 21 businesses coming to our town, which are helping our town increase our ratables and helping all of us by way of having spots fully filled. So for those reasons, I hope we get another 21 businesses in our town that are small businesses, and I hope this helps other small businesses like myself to go up and running and let them know that Brick is a good town to operate in. So I vote yes.
Councilwoman Deanne.
Yes.
Councilman Mumolo.
I'd like to first thank the mayor for bringing us to the council. It's a great idea. We're helping mom and pop businesses. Out of 21 businesses over 2 years, if to say the permits cost $2,000, that'd be $42,000 over the course of a 2-year, would not cause our budget to be flat and not have a tax increase. Has nothing to do with that. That's pure propaganda. But this is a great idea. I encourage mom and pop businesses to fill the vacant storefronts. It's a definite yes from me.
Councilman Halloran.
You know, big box stores are struggling these days because of the internet, and we need to fill some of that revenue with and keep our towns going with some of these mom and pops businesses. So I vote yes.
Vice President Craig.
Yes.
President Zapsik.
Yes. Item 5.2.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 288 of the Township Code of the Township of Brick to designate a portion of Eastview Drive as a one-way street.
Thank you. The Township Engineer and the Police Traffic Safety Unit have recommended that Eastview Drive and Reservation Row be added to the Township Ordinance Section 288, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 16, One-Way Streets, Schedule 41. Last fall, the Engineering Department received a resident complaint regarding the intersection of Tall Timber Drive and Eastview Drive in Eagle Point with a request that a stop sign be installed. Traffic Safety investigated and provided a report that indicated the roads are very narrow with a 9-foot paved surface. The angle of the intersection is acute. The intersection is obstructed by overgrown vegetation, and the intersection is at the top of the hill with a grade change further limiting sight distances. Traffic Safety endorsed the one-way recommendation on the basis that in addition to improving site safety, the limited pavement surface of 9 feet in width meets the residential site improvement standards classification of a one-way alley. Since Traffic Safety issued a report, engineering inspectors had several opportunities to evaluate the intersection and speak with the residents and association representatives. The request was discussed twice by the Public Safety Committee, once in February and once in October of 2018. Based on the angle of the intersection and changes in grade and limited sight distance, engineering supports Traffic Safety's recommendation to make Eastview Drive and Reservation Row a one-way street. Township professionals speculate that this is how the circulation was originally intended when the development was first established. I was actually out there on Saturday for a neighborhood watch meeting with in Eagle Point, and it was also brought to our attention that they have a lot of year-round residents, but they also have a lot of seasonal residents. And typically in summertime, when the traffic is heavier through there, Tall Timber is the access road to the beach. So those 3 roads come together, and it tends to create a lot of problems. So the residents that I spoke to, at the very least on Saturday, were very happy to see this change. May I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Pontorero, second by Councilman Mumolo. Open to council. Seeing none, close council. Open to public for comments on this ordinance. Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ponferrero.
Yes.
Councilwoman Deanne.
Yes.
Councilman Mumolo.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Craig.
Yes.
President Zapsik.
Yes. Okay, item number, starting with 5.3 through 5.6, we have our bond ordinances, 5-year life, 10-year life, 5-year life, 7-year life, 10-year life, and 15-year life. Madam Clerk, would you read the first title, please?
Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements and acquisitions in and by the Township of Brick and the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,506,314, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,430,999 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you. Mayor, would you like to give a broad explanation about what's funded in all the bond ordinances?
Sure, thank you. So this, yeah, it's going to cover all of them rather than break them down for the 5 and the, you know, each individual one. It would just take more time. So all the different ordinances that are coming up, they reflect the expected useful life of a variety of different capital items. And that this year's capital budget totals $8.5 million, which is consistent with the capital budget that we've done for the last 5 years. This will be the 6th one at $8.5 million. So the budget originally started when we got the first request in. It would total out to $25 million worth of requests. So that's what the town, you know, the different department heads and everything said they needed. So then we had to reduce it, prioritize it, have all the department heads get together. This includes the police, engineering, parks, recreation, public works, IT, and get it down to the $8.5 million. So some of the awesome highlights for this proposed capital budget include there's a new automated garbage truck. This way we keep up with our fleet so that we don't get into a situation where if we don't buy new ones all the time, we get into a situation where suddenly we have to buy 3 or 4 in a year, and that's a lot more money rather than just keeping up with the regular rotation. 1 rear loader, 1 single axle dump truck, a bucket truck also for DPW. There's going to be 3 new vehicles added to the fleet for the township's inspectors and IT and code enforcement officers. Those are the 3. Commitment to safety continues with ballistic glaze barriers budgeted for the tax collector's office, also down in the land use department. And these are the same improvements that were made in the clerk's office for the safety of everybody. The budget also includes equipment needed to provide for a senior services outreach office at the Civic Plaza. So that's going to enable the township seniors to have access on both sides of town, so a lot of people can't drive all the way out to Adamston. So we're going to be able to have a satellite office right here on Chambers Bridge Road. Roads, of course, are part of the capital budget. So the roads this year that are scheduled to be constructed are the ones that were already, they were designed last year in previous capital budgets, and they're all ready to build. So these include Brower Drive and Cranberry Cove Road, North Lakeshore Drive, Lawrence Drive, parts of the neighborhood in Midstreams, parts of the neighborhood in Beverly Beach, Old Silverton Road, and then the engineering is going to continue with our microsurfacing program that we started a couple years ago, and that will be Laurelhurst as well as Glen Ridge Estates, the roads in there. That's all going to be completed this year. Also, the replacement of our synthetic fields at Drum Point Sports Complex is scheduled for this year. The municipal building roof is going to be replaced this year. Then we got a bunch of drainage projects. The first one is reconstruction at Duquesne Boulevard. We have the design and the permitting for the Channel Drive bulkhead. We have, we're funding our dredging master plan, which is the master plan so we can get an overall permit and plan from the state rather than have to go for each individual projects. It'll help the homeowners with their dredging projects around town. Also, our upland planning analysis is part of this. Concrete repairs, road work in Bretton Woods as part of the drainage, and it's being done via shared service agreement with the MUA because the MUA is in there doing their water main replacement. And then also, in terms of our sports organizations, we're doing a drainage project at the senior field at Brick American. We're doing parking lot improvements at Pinewood Park for the Brick Township Soccer Association, and then also the replacement of the scoreboard on the 60, 90, and 40, 50 fields at Brick Little League. So that's kind of the highlights of our capital budget for 2019. Thank you.
Thank you. So for bond ordinance 5-year life, motion and a second, please. Motion by Councilman Mumolo, second by Councilman Halloran. Open to council for questions on the 5-year life. Seeing none, close council. Open to public for the bond ordinance's 5-year life. Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilman Pompeo.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Mumolo.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Craig.
Yes.
President Zapsik.
Yes. Item 5-4.
Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements and acquisitions in and by the Township of Brick in the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, appropriating $489,000, therefore, and authorizing issuance of $464,550 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second, please.
Motion.
Second. Motion by Councilman Mumlo, second by Council Vice President Crate. Open to council for questions or comments on the 7-year life. Seeing none, close council. Open to public for questions or comments on the bond ordinance 7-year life. Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontero.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dion.
Yes.
Councilman Mumlo.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crane.
Yes.
President Zapsik.
Yes. Item 5.5, please.
Bond ordinance providing for the various capital improvements and acquisitions in and by the Township of Brick and the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, appropriating $3,489,635, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,315,153 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mumlo, second by Councilman Halloran. Open to council for questions or comments on the bond ordinance 10-year life. Seeing none, close council. Open to public for questions or comments on the bond ordinance 10-year life. Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontero.
Yes.
Councilwoman Dion.
Yes.
Councilman Mumlo.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
President Zapsik.
Yes. Item 5.6, please.
Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements and acquisitions in and by the Township of Brick and the County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, appropriating $3,015,051, therefore, and appropriating the issuance of $2,864,298 bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mumlo, second by Councilman Halloran. Open to council for questions or comments on the bond ordinance 15-year life. Seeing none, close council. Open to public for questions or comments on the bond ordinance 15-year life. Seeing none, close public. Roll call, please.
Councilman Fosman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontero.
No. I'm sorry. Yes. Just wanted to see who was listening.
Councilwoman Dion.
Yes.
Councilman Mumlo.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Vice President Crate.
Yes.
President Zapsik.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, we are now at public comment.
Please note that each person addressing the council during any section of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administrative Code Section 2-33B.
Thank you. Who would like to speak first? Mr. Sluka.
John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. My letter to the mayor and the council for June 6th and Brick Township residents. This may seem like a repeat, obviously, of what I've been talking about for almost 7 years now. A 14-foot pollution safety noise wall and increased forestation to curtail some of the damage caused by the illegal actions of the commissioners of the New Jersey Turnpike Authority is needed on the Garden State Parkway, adjacent to areas of Evergreen Woods, Primrose Gardens, Greenbrier, Birchwood Park, Brick High School, Brick American Field, and quite a few others in Brick and Ocean County. Thousands of studies within New Jersey and the rest of the world have been conducted, and in general they all conclude the same thing, that air pollution from traffic harms our residents. Many studies from groups like the EPA have been published, and the results have been printed in magazines such as Nursing Times. These studies are universal in their conclusion, and as an example, in Nursing Times it states, air pollution from exhaust fumes kills more than twice as many people as road accidents. Worldwide, they concluded. Studies upon studies have been brought before the NJTA commissioners, the county politicians, many local leaders and representatives, but little gets done. Studies have been conducted that show the lungs of children are more vulnerable to the toxins of trucks and autos. Many of these studies have been supplied to the Secretary of the Council and on file for Council in the Council minutes for public viewing. I understand that the mayor has been busy talking to other mayors about enjoying the waterways around Brick Township. I understand the administration may want to add or improve our parks, including basketball courts, playgrounds, skateboard parks, so children can have a safe place to play and receive the much needed exercise that many lack today. I understand that a new gas station may attract thousands of trucks and cars each month, which is good business, and add to our tax revenue in town, so economics makes sense. With all that I understand, however, I have some questions that pertain to the safety and health issues related to these projects. For the past 6.5 years, I've talked about the toxins of the air around Evergreen Woods and other areas in Brick adjacent to that Garden State Parkway expansion. And I wonder if the mayor, council, administration, town planners have considered the dangers, the pollution, the toxins in this expansion of what may seem like enjoyable activities. I heard people complain about the beaches with fully dressed people going into the waters, and although the mayor, I understand, has tried to address that situation with other mayors, I'm not sure that this is a health issue or just a safety issue. The mayor and administration have just had a ribbon cutting up in Bernie Cook Park, and it seems like a grand success with every day hundreds of children using those facilities. I understand the planning board approved a new gas station on the intersection of Herbon, Burnt Tavern, and Lanes Mill, which also may be a financial windfall for the town. I did ask for a slight verification pertaining to that buffer related to the gas station and the Bernie Cook Park, since there's less than 100 feet separating the children's park and the gas station. Some of the information I supplied to the council pertains to the toxins associated with Evergreen Woods, Birchwood, and Brick High, and the other areas detail the problems with air toxins from autos and children's lungs. At the suggestion of Ms. Bergen, correctly, right, I went to the planning board, and although they were extremely helpful for me getting information, they pretty much said that the Wawa followed the rules by asking for a variance to build and not have any buffer to stop the pollution, because residential properties within a certain distance require this this ordinance or this change, but parks do not, with the children in it, which I thought was kind of strange. The data shows that traffic pollution stops children's lungs growing properly. According to Ian Midway, of respiratory toxicologist at King's College in London, and according to Professor Griffiths, principal investigator at the Medical Research Council and Asthma UK Center in Allergenic Mechanisms of Asthma, states that living in areas with high levels of particulates and nitrogen dioxide had up to 10% reduced lung capacity. So maybe the Township Council should consider changing ordinances in Brick to not only protect residential areas, but protect our children in the parks from these air pollutions and toxins. Representative people should not be a mouthpiece for big business and government cartels, but for the people. Thanks for your time. I yield back 2 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to be next? Ma'am, you had your hand up.
Thank you very much. My name is Jamie Prioli, and I'm a resident for Maury Lane. We are a tertiary, very, very tiny street. Most people don't remember that we're over off of Manloking Road. And as a lifelong resident of Brick and a newer somewhat homeowner, I'm trying to educate myself more in some of the rules and regulations and also my rights. So my question to you is in reference to residential notification. Is there a 200-foot notification list required in reference for any application for a street vacate in Brick? And to kind of preface this, there are only 8 houses on our street, and we buffer right up to the river. And at the end is a beach area that half of our houses actually have in our deed language that states we have open access to enjoy this beach area. And the newer residents that have moved in very recently that are on the water, they have not formally submitted a request to have this property vacated to them. And as a homeowner, I'm hoping that I can find out more information about how I can protect my access to what I bought 14 years ago.
Mr. Starkey, do you have some information to shed on the notification process? Or Mrs. Bergen?
All right, so I'm a familiar, I'll just jump in because I'm a little bit familiar because there's been some dialogue back and forth with some of the residents about this.
Fair enough.
There is a public access at the end of that street. There has been no street vacation request submitted.
Correct.
The only discussion was regarding a potential adopt-a-spot. So,
And then we understand that, and we understand it's open to everybody, and that's what we like to keep. We don't want it to be taken away from us.
right, so a street vacation that included a public access point would probably not even get to the Land Use Committee because we do not give up public access points.
Okay,
So my answer to that specific property and the way that we handle street vacation requests, if it is a public access point, it doesn't get to the point where it's processed for their review because we don't give up public access.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you everyone who's been helping us. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Lefty Grimes. I'm from Bayonne. Last week, my brother-in-law passed away from opiate abuse, and we had to tell his daughters that their daddy wasn't coming home, and this is happening all over New Jersey. And my brother-in-law didn't have access to cannabis to get off those opiates. In Brick, you're going to be giving out hundreds of doses of Narcan this summer, and you're going to be selling thousands and thousands of OxyContin and fentanyls in your pharmacy. And there's no cannabis here in this town. And God has a special place in his heart for the sick, the dying, and the disabled. And I think Brick needs to be more like God. And, well, you wrote this song. All the ignorant councils of New Jersey wrote this song, and it's kind of in alphabetical order. You sure can't run a government, but you sure can write a good song.
You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed here.
Keep your cancer home, dear. You can't get no weed. In Barnegat, Berkeley, Bridgeton, Bridgewater, Brigantine, Carlstadt, Chatham, Clifton, Cranberry, East, Rutherford, Elmwood Park, Abington, Fairhaven, Freehold, Garfield, Hasbrook Heights, Hawthorne, Lovelade, Lodi, Jamesburg, Hazlitt, Mawa.
You can't get no weed here. You can't get
no weed here.
You can't get
no weed here.
You can't get
no weed here.
Keep your cancer home, dear.
You can't get no weed. In Manville, Middletown, Point Pleasant Beach, Haleton, Caldwell, Oakland, Oceanport, Ridgewood, Ringwood, Seaside Hyde, Seagirt, Shrewsbury, Sea, Caucus Surf City, Spotswood, Upper Freed, Hold, Lipple Saddle, Riverwall, and Wayne. You can't get no weed here. 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 Keep your cancer home, dear. You can't get no weed. And Weehawken, West Caldwell, West Long Branch, Westwood, Wyckoff, Woodcliff Lake, Palisades Park, Palisades Park. There's no wheelchair access in Palisades Park. You can't get no weed here. 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 Keep your wheelchairs home, dear. You can't get no weed. Chester, Franklin Lakes, Harding, Midland Park, Mansfield, Old Bridge, Old Tappan, Ramsey, Denville, Avalon, Parsippany, Pleasantville, Saddlebrook, and Union City.
You can't get no weed here. 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 Keep your cancer home, dear. You can't get no weed. You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed here. You can't get no weed here. You can't get no
Councilwoman Zabsky, can I have the floor? May I have the floor for 1 second while this tune is still going on? I just want to say that it's offensive to me as a stage 4 cancer victim to, I'm sorry, I said it is offensive to me as a stage 4 cancer victim who would qualify for the use of medical marijuana if I elected to partake in same, and would be able to utilize same in Brick because we allow the use of medical marijuana. That I don't want anyone out there who's watching this to believe that if they're a cancer victim that they cannot
partake in medical marijuana if their doctor believes that they would benefit from same. So, unlike what we just heard, to keep your cancer at home, you're welcome to have your cancer absolutely cared for and treated throughout the township of Brick.
Come up to the microphone, state your name and address, and speak.
My name's Crystal Bennett, and I live on 367 Church Road here in Brick. I grew up in Brick. So if you're so compassionate to cancer patients who need to use medical marijuana, then why won't you let it be sold in your town? Why did you put a ban on it? That's why you're saying it, isn't it?
I will respond if I may have the floor, Madam President.
Yeah. Well, you guys sure really fought hard
Excuse
not
me,
to have
I
the
want to
dispensary
answer
in
I want to
Addison.
answer your question. First of all, I wasn't compassionate toward cancer patients. I am a stage 4 cancer patient.
Okay.
And I wanted to indicate to you that what I was indicating is that as a cancer patient who qualifies for the use of medical marijuana, if I chose to utilize medical marijuana, there is no ban preventing me from using it.
I know
And
that.
I'm
not
sorry, I'm
using
not done
it.
speaking. I let you speak.
You
Will
just
you
told
be
me
so
to come
kind
up
to
here
let
and
me?
you're speaking over my time.
Have you seen anyone here cut off at their time? The
No,
whole
what I'm
night?
saying-
Have you
what I'm
seen-
saying
I'm
is-
sorry, I wasn't done speaking. My point was that if you're issued a medical marijuana card in our state of New Jersey, you are able to utilize medical marijuana in the township of Brick. There are no bans against the use of medical
Against the
marijuana
sale of it?
in any way, shape, or form.
Not against the sale of it? Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Madam President.
Ms. Jones.
Okay, my name is Roxanne Jones, and I live on West Princeton Avenue. First of all, I'd like to say that last Memorial Day was my first time marching in the parade, and to my surprise, I saw, calling to me, "Hi, Roxanne," was my boss, one of them at least, who lives in Howell. I was very surprised. You know, he's here, why not Howell? And he told me later, and we later met at work a day later, is that he's always come, him and his wife, to our parade because he likes how pleasant the people are and how people treat him and the other veterans so well, handing out flags, saying thank you. He's a Vietnam War veteran, and that means a lot to him. So I say, let's keep up with these parades. I know there's nobody saying don't, but hey, if something's done right, let's say give credit, all right? And also second, when it comes to treating any kind of drug abuse, well, I think we should stick to true and tried methods, whatever they may be. Okay? All right, and well, so far as I know, cannabis has not been accepted as far as I know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've never heard of anybody actually having a cannabis program. But I suggest we not adopt one until it's absolutely positively been tested and tried to treat drug abuse. In the meantime, I say let's do everything we can to fight drug abuse, including prevention programs, and of course, let's try, if we can, somehow to get more rehabs. You know, we could lobby our state, lobby our federal government, see what we can do, and of course, pray. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Spector.
Good evening, Michelle. Whoops, this came right off. Michelle Spector, 808 Jenny Court in Brick. Okay, I'm having issues here, sorry. Still haven't heard from the governor's office. So I don't know if you could all write another letter. Although the governor really I don't really know how much to say. I know they appoint the commissioners, but as far as what I've learned, they don't really, it's like they don't, after they appoint them, like that's it. They don't lean on them in any way to, you know, if they've done something like this is a major screw up, to say, hey, you know, maybe you should do something about this. So it's kind of like, I guess, up to us. I mean, we can probably push them to do it, but at this point, I've been texting every single week to Mike Delmater at the governor's office, and I've got zero response. So maybe we could step up maybe a phone call, and do not ask for constituent service. The guy is a total moron. He's just been telling us to get a lawyer, which, you know, we can't afford a lawyer. And the Turnpike Authority has huge pockets. So just maybe step things up and just say maybe you ought to come here and see, because I think they're avoiding that, because then they would feel like they could see there's a problem and then they'll have to do something. So maybe we can just push to get them to come here, just to come and look. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Hello again.
Hi.
My name's Cindy Nibis. I'm at 644 Summit Avenue, of course, here in Brick. Thank you, President. I'm so sorry, I can't pronounce your name too well. Zapkic? That right? Okay. Okay. Thank you for getting back to me. I also reached out to the skate park. I believe it's called Fifth Pocket Skate Parks, who designed the skate park. And one of their main concerns was that the metal pegs can damage the surface. So their solution was, if metal pegs were maybe out of the question, if you put up a sign or something, then of course if you refuse to obey by those laws or those rules, of course you would be actually at the skate park. So bikes would be able to be in the skate park if of course metal pegs were out of the question. Another thing was safety. The skate park wrote back, I quote, was Brick's main concern is safety in terms of bike and skater collisions. And the solution to that is, of course, separate times for skateboards and BMX bikes. But another thing I would like to mention is collisions are going to happen with skateboard to skateboard collisions, bike to bike, scooter to bike, bike to skateboard collisions are bound to happen. As a BMX racer for many, many years, we crashed all the time, and there was no skateboards on the track. I swear by it. It was only bikes, 2 wheels, BMX bikes all the way. Collisions are bound to happen, no matter if bikes and skateboards are not mixed together. Another thing is they said that Brick Township came up with the rules, not the skate park. So it is up to you guys pretty much to allow bikes into the skate park. The skate park has no say in it. They just said that the metal pegs could do damage. And then I also refer back to your email. Having other wheeled sports in the confined area makes it unsafe. The park didn't seem that small to me, so I still don't really understand that part. Another part that I've seen, and it could have been old facts, old information, that's quite all right, but I got some new ones. Bikes are 30 pounds of hard steel. I researched a few different bike brands, going from a more expensive brand, which is Verde BMX, to a least expensive brand, which is Mongoose. You can purchase that at Walmart, Target, Kmart, of course, not in Brick. And then, so I researched all of those, and I got about 11 bikes together, ranging in 20-inch bikes and 18-inch and 16-inch. For those of you who don't know, 20-inch are the wheel sizes, and then 16 and 18. So the smaller the bike, the less it's going to weigh. And BMX bikes now are made with the lightest parts possible. And all of those bikes that I researched were under 30 pounds, complete bikes, frame, wheels, tires, handle, everything complete, were under 30 pounds. So I don't see that being an issue. And also, a handful of those bikes, and I didn't research every bike company, but having a strong BMX background, if there's 1 million bikes out there, easily 500,000 are made from aluminum. So I think that fact was definitely from years and years ago, because many BMX bikes are aluminum. Because if you try to picture throwing around a bike, you know, it's kind of hard, so they make them pretty light. And also, part of that email was with a 30-pound bike with a 150-pound rider. I don't know how that is accurate because I am not 150 pounds for sure. So I don't know where they're getting those facts from. And once again, you guys touch upon safety. We have no safe spot to ride at all, because now you're just going to say we can't ride there. Well, where are we supposed to ride? So now another solution I have is I don't know what you plan to do with the old skate park by Emma Havens, sorry. So maybe you can keep that and make that specifically for bikes, because they have the metal coping on it, which if you don't know what the coping is, it is the top part of the ramp, and it's like a metal, it's round. And those are safe for pegs, skateboards, scooters, anything won't damage it. Because I also have a welding background, and metal is meant to not break. So those metal copings are sure enough can hold up a skateboard or a bike or a scooter, all three at once if you really wanted to do so. So I think this is really possible, and we just have to keep working towards it, because the skateboard company, I have the email, I quoted it, Brick made up the rules for this park, and metal pegs can damage it. So I hope bikes could soon be in the skate park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President, I'd like to answer her, because I did call the insurance company up for the town, and they said that as long as the skateboard park was meant to have bicycles, that the town could designate days that the skateboarders can be there and the bicycles can be there. But I'm only in the council. It's up to the mayor and the business administrator.
Thank you.
Mrs. Bergen, could you please clarify, because
Yes,
that's
I'd be
not
happy
the
to.
information we got from the risk manager.
Right.
I called them up in Virginia.
What I would imagine he was responding to is if a skateboard park was built for the specific intent of including bicycles, then it would be permitted. This one was not. This one was designed and built specifically for skateboards.
And then, am I allowed to?
She has a paper there from the company saying that it's
Yeah,
okay
they
to-
said,
So the information that I emailed to you came to me directly from the skateboard company, so I'm not exactly sure
I know,
why
and
there's
then I
that
got
discrepancy.
different, and I have
I don't skateboard,
messages
so I
from
don't
them.
know what the weight of the bike is or any of that kind of stuff. Those were the people that built the park for us that relayed that information.
And then
So-
I also reached out to them, and they said, you know, and I got all the weights of the bikes, and clearly that 30 pounds and 100, you know what I mean? Like, so it's definitely possible. The skate park is possible for BMX riders, because they,
But
you know.
there are two other pieces to it that,
Correct.
besides the vendor who was subcontracted to build the park, there's two other pieces to it. One being the warranty that comes with the park. So the park was built for skateboards, and if we start allowing a practice that's outside of the allowable use, we risk the warranty, and that is significant. The second part of that is our insurance company has to sign off on that use. The design plans that they reviewed and the insurance certificate that they gave us for the park was for that to be used for skateboard. So it does not cover any other use but skateboard.
So then, where are we supposed to ride? You're
So we did have a recreation committee meeting this evening right before we came here. And we have asked the recreation director to reach out to skateboard companies to find out what it would cost to repurpose the original park next to Emma Haven School for bikes and scooters.
Okay.
And so I don't know how that's going to play out, but I will keep in touch with you and let you know how that goes. And what we just did tonight was all of our capital funding, our big projects for this year. So the earliest we would be able to get anything, a major renovation, would be in next year's capital.
Okay.
But we will move forward with that, get the quotes, find out what it would be involved. The opinion that we got from the risk manager, we were thinking that maybe we could just make a few minor repairs to it and bring it up to spec, but what the risk manager has said is that it would have to be because that one was also designed for skateboards, it would have to be dismantled and completely revamped from new to be able to accommodate bikes.
Okay, so as of right now, until next year and all of that, is it okay for bikes to still ride at the old skate park at Emma Havens? I mean, yes. Yes, but, you know, I just would like to hear it okay from all of you guys. So if I or one of my friends decide to go take a BMX bike to the old skate park that's technically not in use anymore, we wouldn't get in trouble, because now if you take away that park, we have nowhere to ride unless if we go to the plaza across the street or the vacant parking lot next door to the skate park. You know, I just think it's completely unfair that you are going to wipe this out, like not wipe it out completely, but from what I just heard, the whole insurance issue, which is understandable, but where are we supposed to go? Again, safety. Where are we supposed to go and safely ride?
What I would be at liberty to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that nothing concerning that park is changing
Okay,
at the moment.
thank you.
Mr. Canfield. Welcome back. It's good to see you again.
Thank you. It's good to be back. I would love to serenade you all, but I can't sing to save my life, so I'm sorry you're going to have to deal with this. I did see something in the news, I believe it was yesterday or over the weekend, about this whole former superintendent thing. Now, I kind of understand law a little bit, counselors. Studied it for fun. I know that the actual criminal case, the actual charges have been dropped in court. But as we know, given other famous cases, the civil court is a completely separate ballgame. So there is a lawsuit pending. I know the mayor has been named and a couple others. My question is, where's the money coming from? Because $20 million's a lot. I don't have it. Where would that come from? The legal fees for that, and of course, if and when a settlement is reached.
Sure. First, I'll address the first part. The defendants in that case were allowed admission into a program that was approved by the prosecutor in the court called PTI, which is pretrial intervention, which is sort of a probationary period. And typically, if at the end of that period there are no issues, then the charges are formally dropped, the criminal charges. And you're right, there is a civil lawsuit pending. I don't know where the $20 million comes from. It sounds like a lawyer for one side is putting up a big number, which happens all the time, and frankly, it really doesn't mean anything. But for the township's purposes, the township is protected in that lawsuit, defended in that lawsuit by the township's insurance company. And that will fully protect the township. It will both provide a defense, pay for attorneys, and if there is ever any judgment, it will pay for that. In the event the case is just thrown out of court, which is also a possibility, then that would end it in that way. So, but insurance is the answer. That's why we have insurance.
Just making sure, because I got the tax bill recently and almost had a heart attack. So
It won't affect your tax bill at all.
Oh, good. All right. Well, again, I'm not going to serenade you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Ms. Call.
Nan Call, 18 Greenbrier Boulevard, and before I start my official speech, I am going to pass the picture of Sir Walter Brooksmith, and in all his glory, with his Legion of Honor and his MP. He got the highest award the United States gives to any MP for his bravery and service. There's so much I want to cover, but the first thing I will do is the discussion of the DAV refund and cancel taxes. And people seeing DAV and thinking of the organization, it should be read, and if what I suggest was done, 100% disabled American veteran refund and cancellation of taxes for Mr. Edward and Jill Perry at 20 Greenbrier Boulevard, my next door neighbors, but it's now the late Edward, and then the block and number. It's not the organization, it is that individual. Each one of them stands for a person. So that's one thing. Bernie Cook. Bernie Cook was supposed to be done next after Drum Point Road, many, many years ago. And then the changes to make exit 91 into a full interchange were on the agenda and kept being put off and put off and put off. So now, here we are. But did they have meetings where they got the people that would be using it to come in, like that young lady who knows so much? She should have been. There should have been forums, and people like her could come forward and say, are you definitely going to allocate it to handle bike and the, whatever you call it. I'm not even getting on a bike. The gas station, I'm not positive where it's supposed to be going. It must be possibly where Rice King and the law offices are. I don't understand why they're even giving them permission. As far as getting reasonably priced, we've got 2 gas stations there now. They're way above what anything else in this town. They're up to, they show $3.09 or something, but the fine print says that's if you pay cash. Who today is going to pay cash for gas? Number one, I want my credit card statement to show me how much for the year I've paid on gasoline. So it's $3.19 if you pay by credit card. I never buy in those 2. In the old days, I lived not too far from Shore Parkway when it was built in Brooklyn. And you would be able to go out and go to a gas station that had an entrance from the eastbound and the westbound and get your gas and come out the other side and go back home without traveling. And people would go there just to get the gas, because the beginning of the month they post the gas price, and all through the month that's the price. Then when the next month comes, it may change, may go up, may go down. So a lot of people did that, especially when the days were, give me $2 of regular. And believe me, that took you for 2 days. There was so much else. The students of the month. I see, Councilwoman Crate, you got your place on the November ballot. Well, a lot of it is you got free campaign financing by having your face at these meetings. You separate the school from everything else, but we have the students of the month. They come, and they don't even have to sit through a meeting and write a civics report for being honored for nothing. What did they get honored for? The school has much bigger facilities to hold that meeting for both schools and other things. Should be there, not here. And I've always been upset about that, that it also leaves out the parochial school students. And again, you got free campaign financing by having your face put forward, a name recognition. So much more, but I can't even get my eyes to keep. Oh, the meeting, the last meeting we had. Does anybody know what the occupancy in this room is? Because between everything that was done, including students of the month, I think maybe we exceeded the occupancy requirements, which is another reason the students should have been at the school. Not that it would have alleviated too much, because you also had the police, but it would help. You're not doing right by the township, none of you. And the young woman in the skate park, I actually heard this because I'm very involved in my Irish heritage and meetings. Anything for us, without us, no, anything about us without us is not for us. And I found out that that and Don't Tread on Me goes back to the Revolutionary War days. That was a chant. If you don't have people like her involved, if you don't have the disabled community involved in things that are taking place, and have it very clear, then they are not doing anything for us at all. And the last thing is, I mentioned For You Chinese closed. I've seen several others right around, of course. Where we are, everything closes and you don't get anything. So now you're going to let these people do it, and there's nothing to say. Are they going to be there for 2 years and do business and at least recoup some money with the taxes? Or will they be a fly-by-night, go in, renovate, maybe won't be much more than a little paint and making it look pretty from the outside, and then close up because little mom-and-pop shops are not doing good here in Brick.
Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Flores.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I too am not going to serenade you tonight. Max Flores, I'm at 110 Altier Avenue. I did have a question for Mr. Starkey. I wanted to follow up on a question that...
Certainly, go right ahead.
Okay, great. Just wanted to clarify, Mr. Starkey, with the question that Bob Canfield referenced in terms of the civil libel suit, I should say. So, in terms of the premiums, or I should say in terms of the liability, that would be covered by the insurance, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The premiums, who pays the premiums? The township, right?
Every year the township pays premiums for liability insurance to the Ocean County Joint Insurance Fund that is also paid by every other town in the county. That's right.
Okay. So, but would it be fair to assess that if they were to lose that, the premiums would be raised?
A single lawsuit, it's highly unlikely because there is so much risk spread out around the county.
Okay.
That any single lawsuit is very unlikely it would affect the premiums.
Okay. So 20 million wouldn't be that much, so to speak.
Let me be clear. The 20 million is a number thrown up by
I get that.
Some lawyer.
Okay.
But I would say the county, I don't think Brick has, but there are some towns that have seen judgments. I've never seen one as high as 20 million, but certainly, up near that, and the premiums are really not affected because, frankly, the Ocean County Joint Insurance Fund is a very well-run organization.
Gotcha.
And they make their valuations every year. They do a good job of it. And it includes the prospect of significant losses from year to year. It varies from year to year, but I would not think the premium would really change much.
Gotcha. But we wouldn't know for sure, correct? Is that fair to say?
I don't, sitting here right now, no, I'm not an actuary to do those kind of numbers.
Sure.
I'm just basing on doing this for a number of years and seeing all kinds of different cases and expenses and costs, and the premiums stay fairly level. So that's what it's based on. But no, I'm not an actuary to make judgments like that.
Okay.
Council President, can I ask?
Fair enough.
How many lawsuits does the town have? How
Brick?
many lawsuits?
Brick right now?
Yeah.
3 or 4 that are pending right now.
3 or 4?
Which is not, frankly, an unusual number. Maybe I don't have an accurate count. There may be more than that because there are sometimes, motor vehicle accidents that people sue the town even if the town has nothing to do with it. So it could be more, but the reason I don't know is they'll go to the Joint Insurance Fund. 99% of them are handled by the Joint Insurance Fund.
Could I get that information from them?
From the Joint Insurance Fund? It's public information.
All right, thank you.
What would you say on average, on a yearly basis, in terms of lawsuits that the township is facing? I mean, what's the average we're talking
Maybe
about?
3 to 5 a year. That's off the top of my head. I can confirm that, but I believe it's in that range.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening? Seeing none, close public. Mrs. Bergen.
Nothing, thank you.
Mayor?
Thank you. Just doing our regular call for resumes. We usually do them in December for a January date, and then we do them in June for a July date. So if anybody out there wants to be on any of the various boards in the town, please put in your resume and cover letter, and you can email those to mayor@bricktownship.net. Board of Adjustment, BMAC, and Housing Authority are some of the openings, but there's there's always people who resign from various committees throughout the year, so we like to keep them fresh. This Friday, June 14th, is our Relay for Life at Windward Beach. So we have a team out there, the Mayor's Miracle Marchers. There's going to be a survivors dinner, so anybody who survived cancer, please be there, 5 o'clock, as well as the walk itself. The relay itself starts at 6 o'clock, but you do need to make reservations. If you're going to the survivor dinner, you have to reach out to the Relay for Life. They have a website online. Our Jumpstart preschool graduated on Friday, June 7th. And those students are all going to kindergarten next year, in September. When we first heard that the school was offering free preschool, I was a little nervous about our recreation program because, we have a number of teachers who are there and a number of families that enjoy the program. I didn't think I thought perhaps we wouldn't survive, but luckily we are sold out. We've been sold out for a couple months. So people, the quality of our teachers is shown by the fact that. Despite the fact that there's free available through the schools, people still signed up for our program. We're sold out, which is great, and kids can keep on going through our Jumpstart preschool program. June 14th, this Friday as well, senior dinner and a movie. It's Ocean's 8. It's at the Civic Plaza. You have to call Recreation for reservations. It's 732-262-1076. The movie starts at 4 o'clock, or probably about 4:15 actually. And it is free. So you get free dinner, free movie. It's Ocean's 8, so come on out. School's getting out on Monday, June 24th. So congratulations to all the graduating students from kindergarten, all the graduating students from 8th grade, which I guess they call promotion now. They don't actually graduate. And then all the graduating students from high school. And I'll be taking a look at those students as they are getting their diplomas on that Monday, June 24th. Looking forward to it. And to anybody who's a father out there, happy Father's Day. It's coming up this Sunday. If you didn't buy a gift yet, you should get out there. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Starkey?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Nothing, thank you.
Madam Secretary? Councilman Fosman?
Yes, I do have something to say. Before I begin my council comments, I do have a couple questions. I wasn't able to answer them during our resolutions. As Greenbrier 1, is the engineering completed? Had the report available for last year's epic flood event? Has anything come in yet?
No, sir.
Nothing yet. Wow. And Traders Cove Marina, when we did when the dredging occurred over there, and it was dumped behind Town Hall, has anything come in for that yet?
Again, that's a no.
That's
Not
no.
yet, sir.
Not even Public Works, nothing. Both of them were tested and nothing came in?
We don't have the test results yet.
How about permits? The permits come in yet, or they're not giving permits until the test results are done?
Correct,
Oh.
pending the test results.
Let's see what I got here. Many residents reach out to administration with neighborhood issues. Oftentimes when residents' requests and concerns are not resolved, they reach out to the mayor and council. I pride myself on being proactive councilman. For instance, residents of Venata Woods spoke at a local last council meeting with a serious continuous water drainage concerns in their immediate neighborhood. A few days later, I visited the site, and I was told administration had not yet showed up. Upon speaking with a few residents, taking photos of the problem, and then sent the email with the photos attached to administration urging them to take a look. As a result, action was finally taken. I thank you for helping that resident out. Also, some residents have concerns regarding township bulk pickup policy as outlined in the township's website. Our website reads, bulk metal brush collection. It says Public Work offers on-demand collection of brush, metal, and bulk items. You must call 732-451-4060 to schedule a collection. So we have it on demand. So we do tree trimmings, hedge clippings, and similar materials must be cut to length not to exceed 4 feet and must be tied in bundles no greater than 2 feet thick in collection. But in an email, the administration has told some residents that the metal pickup is on the second and fourth Monday of each month, and the brush is not collected on schedule. This should be on the website if that's what's going on. It's on the second and fourth week. That should be on the website so that people understand that, because even I called Public Works today, and they said that all you got to do is tell us what it is, and we'll get out there within a day or two. So that should be corrected on the website. On June 3rd, I attended the unveiling of the new senior bus at the VFW, and I'm finally happy to say that it took 5 years to finally come about. I've been asking for this for a long time. The Food Town closing, I see where this is going. Very convenient. It looks like the closing will take place next year. Too bad. We could use the money, and you can use the money to help balance the budget for the next year. If the sale goes next year, the money cannot be put into the operating budget until 2021, which of course kicks off the mayor election cycle. How convenient that is. Jessica Fletcher, who is the property assistant and Greenbrier One Association, has following an important request. She asked me, the People's Pantry is in dire need of donations to stay open. Food donations are welcome, and they have a refrigeration unit for perishables. But monetary donations are very important as they need money to operate. Many families rely on People's Pantry for food, so please give as much as you can. People can drop off donations to Greenbrier One Association Clubhouse, or they can be brought directly to the pantry. Thank you so much for helping us. As most know, the People's Pantry is located at 1769 Hooper Avenue, Silverton, Toms River. They help the residents of Greenbrier One, Sutton Village, and others who suffered from the horrendous flooding last year in those areas. And they provided a range of goods, which vary week to week based on the donations. Each shopper is aided by one of their own personal shoppers. Areas served are Bayville, Beechwood, Berkeley, Brick, Island Heights, Manchester, Whiting, Lakehurst, Maniloking, Ocean Gate, Ortley, Seaside Heights, Seaside Park, Lavalette, Dover Beaches, Chadwick Beach, Pine Beach, Point Pleasant Beach, Point Pleasant Borough, South Toms River, and Toms River. Jersey Farms on Lanes Mill Road donated 2 huge boxes of food, and thank you to Helen Boker-Baczynski and her helper Madison for putting the boxes together. Vera and I went through our shelves at home and donated a bag of food as well. Please help with whatever you can so the People's Pantry can continue helping families in need. Congratulations to the students of the month, and thank you to Marguerite West for her informative presentation. And thank you to Dennis Filippone for speaking about Brick United. As I had to mention at a previous council meeting, Vera and I attended the dinner and gift auction portion. It was very successful. Brick United first annual Warren Wolf golf outing event, where I was joined by friends Vicky Chad and Max Flores. And happy Father's Day this week to all the fathers out there. Thank you.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to say how wonderful it was for Marguerite Weiss to come out and speak to us about something which is very private. Her disorder, Dystonia Awareness Month, is this month. So I'm going to ask if you have friends or family who have this disorder, you can obtain a copy of this council meeting online and share it with them that way. The most important part of the resources that Ms. Weiss shared with you, including Central New Jersey's support group, as well as the physicians' names which she gave. I thought that was very kind of her, and I congratulate her on receiving her award this evening. Second, I just wanted to say congratulations to our students of the month. And last, a happy Father's Day to all of our fathers out there, both living and deceased. I think it's important that we continue to honor the fathers that we have here on earth, and also those who have passed before, because their legacy lives on in the lessons that they have taught to us during their lives. Thank you.
Councilwoman Dial.
Yes, thank you. I have a Buy and Brick update. We have 3 new businesses since our last council meeting. Metro by T-Mobile, which is in the Carrabba's Plaza. They are offering a 10% off accessories and $10 off your activation. Next, we have Delicious Gourmet Market. It's by Bubba in the old Top Tomato Plaza. They are offering a 5% rebate, and they are opening on June 20th. They also are owners of, I believe, the Sweet Green Market on Hooper Avenue, and they are also part of the Buy and Brick program. The last one I have for this evening is Kumon Math and Reading Center, which is located in Drum Point Plaza on Brick Boulevard, and they are offering a 7.5% rebate. We also have some new updated numbers from 2018 for the Buy and Brick program. This is from April 30th of 2018 to May 1st of 2019. We've had 18,855 sales, the number of sales in the town, and the amount of those sales totaled $1,162,514 brought into our Buy and Brick merchants. We have, I believe, it's 69 businesses, but I believe it's now over 70 with the addition of the one of the ones that came in after all this. I got this update. We have over 6,000 families enrolled, 250 renters, and the rebates that Brick residents received from the Buy and Brick program is $67,603 they received off of their taxes. So the program is doing very, very well, and as always, if you have any information, any merchants that want to join, if you have a business that you frequent a lot, it's usually mom and pop stores again that come into the program. The big corporate box stores, they find it hard to put it in their infrastructure of their point of sale program. So again, the program is doing very well, and I want to thank everybody for utilizing the service that we offer, and hope to keep on succeeding throughout the years. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Mumolo.
Thank you, Madam President. First off, I'd like to say that I'm happy to be part of the council and administration that don't believe in using one-shot revenue to balance a budget or to make you have a zero budget. It was used, as Councilman Fosman is suggesting. This has been done in the past. It's failed. We had a referendum of 24% increase. One shot like that doesn't work well, and it's not a good thing. It's not fiscally responsible. Also, I'm happy that most of the council agreed on supporting small businesses, except for Councilman Fosman. Small businesses are a strong part of the community. It's great that we could help a mom and pop organization to get started and give them a chance in life and making some money and making Brick a better place. With that, I'd like to say Happy Father's Day to everyone out there, and congratulations to all the students of the month. Thank you.
Councilman Halloran.
Thank you, Council President. Certainly keep up the good work to the students of the month. And certainly Marguerite Weiss is certainly a courageous spokesperson for the Dystonia Awareness Month. Her story is moving, and I hope people who suffer from that are take an example of just how, how hard she worked to get herself back to good health. Good luck to Dennis Philippone with the Brick United, and happy Father's Day to all those who are with us and those who are no longer with us. Thank you.
Council Vice President.
Yes, I just have a few announcements from the library. A couple of activities that are going on this week. The first one that I thought people might want to know about is Growing Beautiful Roses. It's taking place Friday, June 14th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And they're having master gardeners come in from Ocean County, and they're going to teach about how various types of roses grow, how to properly water them, fertilize them, deadhead, and prune them. So if you are a budding gardener, you may want to show up for that particular event. The next one is the Strictly 60s Band, which is taking place Saturday, June 15th from 2 to 3:30. It's a musical tribute to the 1960s, including songs by the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Beach Boys, The Doors, Motown artists, and more. So if you are a fan of 60s music, that would be a great event for you also. And the last one I'm going to share is Craigslist. So if you have junk in your house you want to get rid of, or you don't know how to buy stuff, or you're looking for things online, you don't know how to use Craigslist, they'll have a forum on Tuesday, June 18th from 2:30 to 3:30. You can come and learn how to use Craigslist, how to learn how to search, learn how to post your ads and get rid of some of the stuff in your house and make some money. And just as an aside to that, if you do ever purchase anything on Craigslist or anything online, we always recommend, we do have a safe spot for you to do exchanges here right outside the police department. So keep that in mind if you do decide to dabble in Craigslist. That's how you want to do your exchanges. And to get into any of these programs, you can sign up online at the oceancountylibrary.org. You can call 732-920-9314, or I just found out today, they also have an app. So if you go online and you scroll down to the bottom of the Brick website, there's one of the QR codes. You can just put your phone in front of that and it'll upload the app right for you, and you can register for any of the events right on your phone as well. So thank you very much. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and have a good night.
Thank you. I just want to reiterate what Councilman Mamalo said about the small businesses, and just add that they are an integral part of the fabric of this community. It's typically our small businesses, the mom and pop stores, that are the ones that support local organizations like Brick United in their effort to host a golf tournament and fundraise for scholarships for our students. So when we support small businesses support the community, and everyone benefits. I want to talk a little bit about the bond ordinances that we did tonight. I don't know that anybody had their calculator out, but if you did, those would have totaled about $8.5 million. When the mayor took office in 2014, he put a cap on all capital spending each year at $8.5 million. Prior to that, the previous administrations, the spending had rampant. From 2007 to 2014, the township's net debt, which is the cumulative result of all that capital spending, increased by $70 million. Now, the net is important because typically in any given year, township will retire about $1 million to $1.5 million. So we should have retired during that period. We should have retired about $10 million. So in essence, we took on $80 million of new debt. That's not free money. We pay that interest in terms of debt service. That's a line item in our budget every year. So I applaud it's not easy making those decisions. What typically, Mrs. Bergen, $22 to $24 million worth of requests for capital projects, and it's a lot of whittling down and prioritizing that gets it to $8.5 million, which is definitely a fiscally responsible and prudent way to proceed. And then finally, and sort of related to that, in the fall of 2013, I got a call out of the blue from some guy named John Ducey, who told me that he had been elected mayor, and he wanted to know if I was interested in serving on his transition team as the chair of the Recreation and Senior Services Subcommittee. I was happy to do it because I had some expertise in the area. I'd worked here for 11 years, and I was happy to give back to my community. I also, on a selfish note, my mom had passed away a few months earlier, and it's our first holiday season without her, so I was really happy to have my mind otherwise occupied. Just for the heck of it, the other night I went back and I looked at the report. Now, the folks on the transition team, the folks on the subcommittee that I chaired, they were all volunteers from the community, and they were from both sides of the political aisle, and even the folks in between that have U's or N's after their last name. Everybody kind of came together, interviewed township departments, department heads and whatnot, and made some recommendations to the mayor on moving forward in future operating. And in that report, I think it was Barbara Riley who went over and interviewed senior services. The issue of the senior busing came up. And we talked about it in our committee meetings that years ago the township had their own buses, and then it was outsourced to the school board. So there was a recommendation in that transition report from 2013 that the township go back to having our own senior buses. So I'm happy to report that at long last we had the christening of our 2 new senior buses last week. That program will go into effect, I think Zulma said, June 24th. And I really, really want to give a big shout out to Zulma Soto, who's our senior center director, who worked tirelessly on the grant application. So one of those buses was paid for by grant money. One of us was in our last year's capital bond ordinance. And as of the 24th of June, we will be bringing our senior busing back in-house. And that's all I have this evening. Our next meeting will be here in this room Tuesday, June 25th at 7 p.m. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. May I have a motion to adjourn? Motion. Second? Or all in favor? I do that all the time.